listening to Republic Broadcasting Network because you can handle the truth.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. The history the government hopes you never learn. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And aloha, America. Welcome to our show today. It is Friday, March 6th, 2020. Thank goodness it's Friday. Thank goodness it's Friday. Thank goodness it's Friday. And we have got a lot to talk about today. The phone lines are open, 800-313-9443. That's 800-313-9443. Mike is in our control room, ready to twiddle the dials, keep us out of trouble, and answer the phone, put you on the air with your comments, questions, and observations. Now, before we get into it, a couple of announcements. First of all, the Lady Claire finally, after all this time, will be returning to the air in hour number 3. So we're definitely looking forward to having her once again grace the airwaves with her unique perspective on the world. Second of all, a reminder to all of our listeners, daylight savings time begins this weekend. So get ready to spring ahead on those clocks. And technically you lose an hour, but you get up an hour earlier and you have more light in the evening is the way that this thinks about it. Chopping off a piece of one end of the day and sticking it on the other end of the day and thinking that that's somehow advantageous. A lot of people wish they did just do away with daylight savings time, especially in this age of electric illumination. It's not like we really need it. Okay, so getting on into things here. Today is the anniversary of the Alamo, or the fall of the Alamo, back in 1836. And for 13 days, 189 brave Texicans withstood Santa Anna's army of over 4,000. And they stayed there and fought, knowing they were going to lose, knowing they were going to die. They had many opportunities to leave and live, and they chose to stay there. I guess in today's sensibilities, that probably would sound kind of silly, but they seriously wanted their independence, and they did it. So, and eventually Santa Anna's army was defeated. Santa Anna, in exchange for his life, ceded huge amounts of territory, including Texas, much of California, to the United States. Okay, now, getting into the political news here, President Trump drove a massive GOP primary turnout, even in the blue states. Now, you'd almost think that during the Republican primaries, people wouldn't bother going out and voting because they know Trump's going to be the candidate. But apparently, a lot of people just decided they were going to go on out and reaffirm their support for President Trump by voting in the GOP primaries. And apparently, in some cases, more than 100,000 more votes were cast on Super Tuesday 2020 than on Super Tuesday 2016. So that's boding very, very well for the incumbent here. Now, a lot of people are still talking about Joe Biden and his gaffes about Super Thursday and running for the Senate and confusing his wife and his sister. And apparently, people have gone back to look at footage from 10 years ago about Joe Biden. And they're saying, if you compare them, you can see the deterioration. There's an unmistakable difference. And a lot of people are very worried about him, including Democrats. Even his supporters are saying, there's something going on here, and we should be concerned about it. And yeah, they should be. But since I think Trump is going to beat him anyway, it's not that big of a problem here. Okay, apparently Elizabeth Warren has announced her official withdrawal. We talked about that earlier in the week. And she was asked about, how she felt about the fact that so far the Democratic primary has come down to 2 white men being the last remaining candidates, now that they're shoving Tulsi Gabbard out the door. And she got all emotional and said, yes, it's white guys and it's sexism and it's all the rest of it. And apparently out in Hollywood, they're out there, mourning the demise of Warren's campaign and saying they need a space to grieve, and they're going to get their Play-Doh out and the little bubble wrap to pop the bubbles and, get their stress and tension out that way. But just remember, folks, all the air inside those bubbles comes from China. Anyway, so Warren voters are accusing their own party of sexism after Warren's devastating Super Tuesday defeat. She came in third in her own home state. That's got to tell you something there. Okay, well, the Trump campaign is going to make a huge issue about the Biden family corruption and Burisma. And it's a major, major vulnerability for Joe Biden. Because didn't he know what Hunter was up to? Was he part of it? Did he receive any money from Burisma? So they're going to make a big, big stink about that, and it will work against Joe Biden. Everybody's still talking about Chuck Schumer and his implied threats against Neil Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh. And Mitch McConnell took to the Senate floor yesterday to address the threats made by Chuck Schumer against the Supreme Court justices at this pro-choice rally in front of the Supreme Court on Wednesday. Now, Schumer has apologized and insisted they weren't physical threats. He wasn't threatening to physically hurt the judges. The threats were meant to imply a loss of public support, public opinion damage, political damage, and he's apologized. But it does look like he's going to be censured, which congressionally, it's a wrist slap. Oh, you've been censured. You have to sit in the back for a couple of weeks. But this is the leader of the Democrats in the Senate. And that's what made it so serious here. Okay, now here's an interesting little story. First of all, we're going to do a shout out to our on-air affiliates who are just now rejoining our network. And this is a story that came out of stationgossip.com. And they're talking about how a new study has found the FBI quit the investigations on the terrorists behind Fort Hood, the Pulse nightclub, Garland, and the Boston Marathon Islamic attacks, which to me suggests that these were all false flags. You don't want to burn the people who go on out doing these things for you. Now, we know that the wrong people got killed and sent to court in the Boston Marathon bombing. We know that because of the backpacks. We've talked about that many times. The Fort Hood situation looked like more of a fragging than a terrorist attack, but they blamed the convenient Muslim there. And finally, if you're wondering why everybody considers the corporate media to be fake news or at least unreliable, the editor of the New York Slimes and Brian Williams were absolutely humiliated because on air they suggested that each American could have received $1 million from Bloomberg's $500 million ad spend. Well, no, actually it would work out to about $1.50. Somebody should have gotten out a calculator and checked their math. So that was definitely a major, major whoopsie and a bit of a farce. And by the way, something about Bloomberg, the old adage that money buys elections obviously didn't work here, because he spent, a lot of his own money. So I think $700 million actually was what it came out to be. And he got nowhere. He absolutely got nowhere. So people don't let the money influence them anymore. And that's a good thing. That's a very, very good thing when you don't let the money sway you. You look at the issues, you look at the person. You're not fooled by the fancy clothes they wear. Remember that whole thing with John McCain's VP choice, and they rented her a whole bunch of high fashion clothes. And then she got really upset because she didn't realize after the campaign she had to give them all back. All right, so let's talk about coronavirus because it's back in the news there. CDC has one set of numbers on number of cases. Fox News has another, something like 244, which when you go into the 12 known dead or 13 known dead, works out to a current kill ratio of about 5%, which is kind of serious. But then again, the numbers really are all over the place. So the coronavirus has spread to New York City, Texas, New Jersey, Tennessee, and Nevada. And they're calling it an epidemic now as it sweeps across Americans. 2 more coronavirus cases are now confirmed in New York City. The origin of those cases cannot be found, which means it's almost certainly a local sustained outbreak. And this means that infections in New York City are about to explode. High population density, people are very close to each other. A lot of people touching the same surfaces, the same elevator buttons, the same cash machines, the same terminals, the same everything. Now, the 2 new patients, neither has a connection to travel or any of the other local individuals. Now, the state of Texas has confirmed a Houston resident is positive for the coronavirus. A secondary positive test is currently pending. What they do is when they get a positive, because the tests have been unreliable in the past, they'll do 2. They're both positive, then they say, yes, we've got the case here. The first case has been identified in Nevada. New Jersey now has its first positive case for coronavirus. It's a male in his 30s, demonstrating yet again the coronavirus can strike anyone at any age, not just the elderly. Now, this is a bit of a surprise because I was talking to a friend of mine who's still in Hawaii, and he was saying, we don't have it here, it's not a problem. But apparently Hawaii, along with Maryland, have both declared a state of emergency regarding the coronavirus. Now, maybe Hawaii doesn't yet have any cases, but as Tulsi Gabbard was pointing out, it is that travel hub for the entire Pacific, and it's only a matter of time, pardon me, before it gets in there. So U.S. coronavirus infections explode to 226. That's 2 more than Fox News was reporting. And an air traffic lockdown is coming soon. By the way, speaking of air traffic, we had people calling in saying planes are still coming in from China and so forth. Well, here's what's going on. It turns out most of those incoming flights are actually near, if not totally empty, but they have to keep cycling the hardware to hang on to their routes. And also, of course, they have to have planes on the ground in the United States to fly back to China because China isn't blocking travel from the United States to China. In fact, they're still hoping tourism is going to come on back. I imagine they're out there like trying to sterilize the Great Wall of China. See, it's safe. You can go there. Okay, another emergency room doctor is saying that 98 to 99% of coronavirus victims are going to do very, very well. So there's yet another number of the kill ratio, saying 2% or 1%. But the numbers are really all over the place. And as I understand it, even if you survive the coronavirus, it is much more serious clinically than the ordinary flu. Okay, another story, this one out of Investment Watch blog. Shocking new study concludes that the best case scenario for a COVID-19 pandemic is 15 million dead. Everyone's getting their spreadsheets out and they're trying to run a forecast. But again, because the initial numbers are all over the place, the results are going to be all over the place. Garbage in, garbage out. Okay. Nomura is out there saying that the worst is yet to come, and he sees as many as 1.5 million COVID cases by June. So anyway, still talking about the 2 different strains that they have out there. All right, this is a story, and this one came out of Natural News. Now, Mike Adams does a lot of good work, but he does tend to be a little bit sensational. That's probably because he's trying to get more people to read his website. And according to him, his pandemic projection model that he himself made is showing 2.16 million deaths in the USA by the 4th of July if nothing is done to halt nearly all domestic travel needs, including air, rail, and roads. So he was tweaking up this first draft of a pandemic projection model that simulates the spread of the coronavirus in the United States. And he stresses himself, that this assumes that nobody does anything about the spread. Well, we're already starting to do things about the spread. We're all keeping our distance. We're all using hand sanitizers. We're coughing into our elbows. We're avoiding crowded places. So I don't see it as having that many deaths by July 4th, but that's what Mike Adams is saying. Okay. All right, over in Iran, a specialist in infectious diseases, Dr. Masoud Mardani, is saying that he expects 40% of the Tehran population to catch COVID-19. And this was in an interview with the Iran newspaper. An infected person could transmit the virus to 4 people at the same time. I think he's talking about the R-naught. And it doesn't have to be 4 people at the same time. The R-naught is how many people, on average, a single patient is likely to infect as they go about their lives here. Now, the other day, the United States made an offer to Iran to help them deal with the coronavirus outbreak. But the one thing they didn't mention was easing those sanctions, because those sanctions could turn what is currently a crisis into an absolute catastrophe. If the United States was serious about wanting to help Iran get through this outbreak, they'd ease some of the sanctions, let Iran sell their oil for needed medical supplies. But they're not going to do that. So the U.S. offer is mere words. It is air. Okay, the French defense minister is out there saying that a military base outside Paris has been hit by coronavirus. And this is rather serious because if you'll remember, most of the spread of the 1918 Spanish flu was done by military people rotating in and out of the battlefields of World War I. Oh, anyway. Over at the Los Angeles International Airport, a medical screener, who we presume has all the protective gear they need, has now tested positive for the coronavirus. Okay, we're going to go ahead and take a phone call from Paul in New Jersey. Aloha, welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hello, Michael.
Hello,
Michael. You know how Donald Trump, they claim he has a clean hand fetish. It was kind of interesting that he's concerned about, preventing disease for himself. But when it comes to the nation as a whole, he seems somewhat indifferent towards it and has been. As I've proven on your show many times, the flights are still coming in. And as you just mentioned a second ago, at the LAX, some of the screeners are getting infected now. Because, yeah, even though many conservative talk show hosts I've been hearing, they just repeat the same line that the flights have been canceled. And everybody believes it, and they walk around like, oh, yeah, Donald Trump, he stopped the flights back in January, at the end of January. But it's just not true.
Okay,
Now,
but did you hear where I reported that most of those flights are all but empty because they have to rotate the hardware or they lose their routes?
okay, but mostly empty, but all you need is just a few people to bring in and reinfect. And especially as numbers double and grow exponentially, it doesn't require that many people to get through. And as a matter of fact, I think it was Vice did a piece on people flying in from Italy and how they came in and there was hardly any screening and they just went right through about their merry way.
I saw that one, yes.
Yeah, and so as I've said, when it comes to the United States, part of the problem is the libertarian mindset, the globalist mindset that we have. And in a sense, it's against what American history has done in the past. People are unfamiliar with it. How we used to quarantine ships in the past, how it was normal. Yeah. And back in those days, you'd have to spend, sailors would have to spend several weeks on some islands off the coast in quarantine waiting before they were allowed onto the mainland to keep out the yellow fever and other diseases.
That's what Sand Island in the Honolulu Harbor, that's what it used to be used for, was the quarantine facility. Now it's a shipping terminal.
Yeah, and now if you think of it, like when cholera first spread from India, and then because of the globalism of the day, it went to England. And by the way, it also spread on land among participants in the Hajj and other cases. It went into Russia, killed about 1 million Russians when cholera went there. But then it finally made its way across the United States and into New York and throughout the world, because in those days, that was the vector for transmission, was ships. They didn't have planes then. And ships, they'd be on the ship for several weeks crossing the ocean. Now you just hop on the plane from China or South Korea, and voila, you're in the United States within hours. And so, we've seen I followed for the past about month and a half the Johns Hopkins website and watched the corona map in the United States as the little red dots spread more and more. And a month and a half ago, I thought to myself, no, we're not that stupid where they're going to spread more. Because I remember it was only like 6 cases or, 3 cases in the United States. And I thought to myself, no, we're not that stupid. It's not going to spread in the United States. They're gonna stop the flights, and they're gonna inspect them in customs.
Well, South Korea is screening people for fevers before they're allowed on the plane. Paul, gotta let you go. Gotta take a break. We'll be right back.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcast. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
What this country is coming to, I sure would like to know. If they don't do something by and by, the rich will live and the poor will die. Doggone, the panic is on. Can't get no way, can't draw no pay. Unemployment getting worse.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. And Rented Lips. A reminder, Republic Broadcasting Network is holding a fundraiser right now, and we absolutely need your help. We have to replace equipment that wears out. We have to pay fees for the internet access and satellite uplink and all the rest of it. So we really do need your help. So the postal address where you can send a check, money order, or if you prefer anonymity, cash, is Republic Broadcasting Network, 2251 Double Creek Drive, number 302, Round Rock, Texas, 78664. The phone number where you can make a credit or debit card donation is 800-724-2719, extension 3. The network thanks you. WhatReallyHappened.com thanks you. All right, we're going to go back to the phones here to Al in Canada. Aloha, Al. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hi, Mike. When you had that little bit of a tongue thing there, it almost sounded like you said, "Help me, Rhonda." I can't wait to hear this again, like later on. That's what it sounded like to me anyway. This coronavirus, a couple of weeks ago, you and I were talking about it, and I said this was what was going to be used to blame the crash on.
Yes.
and it seems that it's working out that way.
I don't know. I don't think most
and
people are being fooled by that because if you look at Wednesday and Monday's huge upshoves, it doesn't make any sense. If the coronavirus fear was what was affecting the market, you would expect the market to just continuously decline. But if you've got the upshoves on Monday and Wednesday, followed by Tuesday and Thursday, and also today, the market is down, something else is at work. And I think most people are sharp enough to realize that.
I don't think most people are sharp enough to realize that, Mike. And I also think that those upshoves are not organic, or should I say, people like us. It's orchestrated, probably by central banking.
Well, they do the rate cuts, and people, investors on Wall Street, they say, "Ooh, we've got cheap money. We can, buy stock and ride the straddle."
Gamble.
Yeah. That's gambling.
So between 2017 and 2018, that year, 45 million people had influenza in the United States, and there were about 810,000 hospitalized and 61,000 deaths. I don't see it getting that bad with this coronavirus.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as what I've read, if anything, it's probably teaching people to be a little more sanitary. I mean, we all grow kind of lazy.
Yes.
Like you said, people aren't, if they're coughing in their arm. Like, I've been working in the food industry for a long time. I put my shirt over my face and cough if I have to cough or sneeze, and I, point it towards my chest. So, yeah, I mean, it ain't pretty when I get home if I'm really sick. But I don't go to work sick because I work in the food industry. And that's a big problem right there. A lot of germs and ugly things come from food. And I'm not saying this is related to the coronavirus, but I'm just pointing out a simple fact that a lot of this stuff is on us. How we react, to our surroundings. I mean, some people are very lazy, Mike. They don't even wash their hands once or twice a day. So, if anything, I think this is teaching people to be a little more clean.
Yes.
For lack of a better word, sanitary. But it's also, of course, this is only my opinion, it's also being used as a reason why this drop in the stock market that's supposed to be the holy grail of the economy, how the economy's doing, has nothing to do with shipping, Mike, like the Baltic Dry Index. Nothing to do with that or anything else. It's all the stock market. Your 401ks are invested in it. RRSPs are invested in it. Pension plans are invested in it. Why would they prop it up?
Well, I think that's why they're trying to keep it up, is they don't want people to start panicking and dumping their stocks and converting their 401ks.
Yeah, but it's okay to get the people to panic, the herd, as it were, to panic about an illness that realistically affects the infirm, the elderly, the weak. It's another call.
All three of those categories, so I'm concerned.
Mike, I'm there too. I'm like right at the edge of that. But I don't think you'll get it. You yourself admitted a couple weeks ago that you really don't go out a lot anymore.
No.
So, and knowing this, what's going on or what could happen, when you do go out, Mike, when you go to the you shop for groceries, do they have like sanitary wipes that you can wipe your hands with in the shopping carts and all that jazz?
Yeah, they do. Al, I'm going to put you on hold. Don't hang up. I'm going to come right back to you after these few words.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Homeowners, if your lender has gone out of business or sold your transaction to another lender or servicer, you may be the victim of a wrongful foreclosure, resulting in the loss of your home. If you've already lost your home, are in foreclosure, or even in good standing, you can challenge the mortgage transaction's illegal issue, and your property can be restored to you, and your foreclosure can be stopped or reversed, and the mortgage transaction declared unenforceable. State laws, U.S. title codes, the Uniform Commercial Codes, and U.S. Supreme Court rulings have upheld that defective mortgage documentations can reverse or stop foreclosures and enforce property title claims in favor of the homeowner. We are having successes in stopping the process of foreclosure, the enforcement of the foreclosure judgments, the sale of property, and evictions after the sale. We are not attorneys, and we don't give legal advice. We are a professional team of legal researchers, providing forensic mortgage audits and expert witnesses. We have the knowledge to produce the evidence and enforce laws regarding your legal issues. We've been in business for 12 years without a complaint. Consultations are free, and we provide a free title search to confirm if your mortgage has legal defects. Please call 855-253-3748. 855, keep it today.
Here at Republic Broadcasting Network, we have been building our online store. Well, we have been focusing on bringing you the best talk show host in the country. Here at Republic Broadcasting Network, we also want our listeners to have products they can use every day and in times of emergency. We have added new products each week to our store. Your support of this network, plus products at the best prices, is a win-win situation. Check out our new store. Go to our website, republicbroadcasting.org, and click on the online store located at the top of our website. Together, we can continue to grow RBN and help our listeners prepare for the future. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and click on our online store or call us.
800-724-2719, extension 3. 800-724-2719, extension 3.
The reviews for Extendivite are amazing. Here are some from Amazon. September 2018. Extendivite works in keeping my blood pressure in the normal range. I've been using Extendivite for many years now. May 2018. Great product. I use regularly and I rarely get sick. March 2018. This product has relieved what appeared to be angina pain in my chest and shortness of breath after climbing stairs. I'm quite happy about it. February 2018. My husband, son, and I have been using this product for a few months now, and we have noticed an improvement in our joints and blood pressure. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Some are maxed out all their credit cards. Some are working 2 jobs and living in cars. Minimum wage won't pay for a roof, won't pay for a drink. If you gotta have proof, just try it yourself, Mr. CEO. See how far $5.15 an hour will go. Take a part-time job at one of your stores. I bet you can't make it here anymore.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show. Here we're talking with Al in Canada. And to answer your question, yes, the stores that we go to, they've got those little hand sanitizer stands right there where you can sanitize your hands when you go into the store. The only concern I have with those is that most of them, you have to touch this little plastic plunger, which everybody has touched before they get sanitized.
Oh, you're talking about the gel.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Most of, and not all, most of the places up where I live, like, where I live, not everybody, I live, they have, those wet towelettes you just pull on, right?
Uh-huh.
And the horrific thing is not very many people use them. Am I right?
Yes, you're right. I mean, yep. I don't use the gel in our store. Neither does Claire. And I think that's partly because we've been hearing stories about some of the chemicals in there really aren't all that good for you to begin with.
No, they're not. The stuff, like the alcohol, the gelled alcohol with maybe like an aloe in it, that's as far as you need to go.
Yes.
But even that, alcohol dries out your skin, hence the aloe. If you use this stuff enough during the day, you could end up with a reaction and or like dermatitis and all those sorts of things. But the idea is that people must become more aware of their own personal hygiene. And like you said, I hope that this is actually waking a lot of people up, because I might personally myself, then this is myself, I won't leave my apartment unless I've had a shower first. I will not. And I don't mean every time, I mean every day. Right?
Yes.
It's just how I was brought up. I was brought up that way, and then after work, I shower, and then I leave. So I've been, fortunate enough to have showers every single place where I've worked. And I'm not saying they're sanitary, right, with the fungus and all that. But I've never had a problem with that. And personal hygiene is very important. Like the old saying, and you and I, we don't really believe in this stuff, but cleanliness is next to godliness. I think it has a lot to do with self-respect and how you respect other people. Like I'm not gonna go up to someone and burp in their face or stink in their face or do stupid things like that. And I would expect them not to do it to me. So, like you said, I hope people are waking up to this sort of thing a little more, because it's a dirty world we live in, and cash is going to be. They're going to go after cash, Mike.
Yes.
With this, they're already starting. Oh, it's dirty. Oh, it's dirty. Yeah. People that are talking about this are dirty. They're dirty, rotten scoundrels. They're going to use this, and they have been using this crisis. Will not be wasted. We will benefit from it somehow. That is their motto. That's what they do to us.
Never let a
Cooler heads must prevail. Yep. There's nothing to fear but fear itself. And I still believe that. I said it a couple of weeks ago, and I believe it now more than anything. I appreciate your time, Mike. You have a good one.
All right. Thanks an awful lot. We're going to let you go and switch over to Kenny in Florida. Aloha, Kenny. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hi, Mike. How you doing?
Doing okay.
Yeah, that's good. Who was it that said never let a good crisis go to waste? Was it like Rahm Emanuel or something?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Okay, and what I wanted to talk about was daylight savings time. A while ago, some time ago, when we switched back to standard time, I don't know why, but it just looked more beautiful, like outside. It's like 2:00 in the afternoon, looked like 2:00 in the afternoon, and not 1:00, and 11:00 in the morning looked like 11:00 in the morning, not 10:00 and whatever. I'm not sure why that is, other than maybe our connection to nature and how we've just always, gone by the sun before we had clocks and stuff.
Yes.
And I've just noticed it looks more beautiful outside. And I have a little room to talk. I'm not employed currently. I'm not a big morning person, but people are getting up at before the sun during daylight savings time. I can't imagine that's the healthiest thing. I mean, even at 6:00 in the morning, I mean, the sun's not fully risen, but there's a trace of daylight, and the birds are tweeting and all that. It just feels like morning. And also, Senator Marco Rubio here in my home state of Florida. He's a senator for Florida.
Yes.
He wants to make daylight savings time permanent.
They tried that in California some years ago, and it didn't work out because the kids were having to go to school in the dark in the morning.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah, but that's it too. I mean, I'm a little spoiled. I like the longer evenings, but that's the only thing I really like. I can't really think of any other reason they would want to do that other than to disconnect us from nature. Yeah, what do you think about that?
Well, I think when daylight savings time was first proposed, we lived in a world that was kind of dark at night. But in this age of ubiquitous electric lighting, to me, it's a relic of the past, and I think it should be done away with.
I tend to think the same thing. The only thing I like is the longer the more daylight in the evenings. That's pretty much the only thing I like. Yet, I just think it just looks more beautiful outside during standard time, because it just looks like the time just looks like the same time that our clocks are telling us. But I do tend to agree. I think it should be, much as I like the longer evenings, I just don't think we need it. I just don't think we need people waking up before the sun and all that.
And let's face it, in the summer you get a longer evening anyway, just because of the way the sun works, with the Earth and that analemma.
Yeah. Don't you get longer mornings too?
Yeah, you get longer mornings and longer evenings, and the sun rises higher in the sky, and it's called summer, at least up here north of the equator.
Yeah, I tend to agree. We get longer days during the summertime anyway. But anyway, that's all I had. I just kind of think that savings time is unnecessary and should and ought to be done away with.
All right. Well, thank you very much for the phone call. We're going to let you go, and we're going to go to Dustin in New Jersey. Aloha, Dustin. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind today?
Yeah, the only thing you got to fear is yourself, but makes sense to be ready for anything, right?
True.
I mean,
Absolutely.
Mike, after Sandy, which, we got hit over here real bad. I had no power for like 18, 20 days, and I didn't have a generator at the time, so, ran out. But after that, Mike, I went crazy. I bought like tons of Kansas Spam, beans, P100 masks. I got, NATO issue gas masks I got, and all this stuff. I'm glad I got them because now I might need them. So it doesn't, Mike, the caller I let from Arizona toward the end of the show yesterday, I have to disagree with him to say this is not it might be overblown, but it's not a hoax. Like, no. Overblown and a hoax is two different things, Mike. I mean, it doesn't make sense to not be prepared. Like, what hurts you from having extra stuff? Nothing.
Nothing.
But if you look now what's going on, I mean, it is spreading. I mean, do you think it's, Mike, do you think it's a hoax, like what's going on in Italy now? Like, there's a lot of deaths there now. What's the ratio now? It's the ratio seems like it's more than 3.4. That's another thing. Did Trump say it was only a 1%? That's not true.
No, it isn't. I mean, going from the Fox News numbers, the lethality rate is 5%.
Yeah. Well, what is the flu? Do you know, Mike? What's the flu numbers of the death of the flu rate? Is it under 1%?
I think it's roughly around 1%.
So this is more, and this has flu-like symptoms, but it's not the flu. But it's like SARS and MERS, but it's not. So this is worse. But to say this is like a fraud or a hoax, it's not. One thing is it might be overblown by certain political parties, like I said a while ago, a couple of days ago. But I mean, it's just come out and tell people it's not it's a hoax or it's a fraud. That's not right, man. Like, people should have at least some extra stuff, because did you see what Costco, they're putting out signs like you're only limited to buying certain amounts of rice or water or sugar, disinfectants, and Lysol.
Yes.
But is that a hoax? You know what I mean? So if it's a hoax, Italy's involved and all these other countries are involved. And in Palestine, they got some cases. So to say this is a hoax is not right, man. You need to make precautions at least, Mike? I mean, because if you're a younger person and you have elderly people in your home that are more susceptible because their immune system's less, you might not get sick, but you can pass that on to to other people in your family.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, just to tell people, that's what makes me mad about Bill O'Reilly, Mike, and Rush Limbaugh and some of these other people, just brushing it off. Why? Because the economic numbers are not favorable to Trump, so it's a hoax. That's what it's all about, Mike, right? It's about the economics that's hurting Trump, and so it's a hoax because it's just hurting Trump. Come on, man, that's just bogus. And I get mad at that because, like I said, I'm a Democrat. I voted for Trump. I voted for somebody to fix stuff, but I don't see, Mike, I don't see anything being fixed even with Mike Pence is in charge. We have nothing to fear. Isn't that right?
Yes. These press conferences they do every day, they're a major disappointment. That's why we're not going to carry them anymore.
It's like Mike Pence is in charge. Everybody just go out. What did Larry Kudlow say? Buy more storks. Buy more storks because you can fly out of the areas that are infected. That's all these people. Well, Mike, that's all these people care about. They don't. Do you think these people have a problem getting P100 or N95 masks, or they're not? These people don't go to Walmart to shop. Okay. They don't go out. They don't wash their own clothes. They don't drive their own cars. They get driven for them. So these people are protected. But for the average people that call into this show, you would think you'd be slightly prepared. If it's a hoax, which I don't think so, but if it is, if it's not, at least you got some kind of preparedness to deal with it. But I mean, I just get angry, Mike, when people are just Mike, I went on Zero Hedge, and there's people making fun of this. Like, I mean, just like think it's a total fraud. Like it's a joke, and it's not. There actually is people dying. People, like I mean, it's just and looking at what's Iran's death rate. Like, did they lift the sanctions yet?
Yeah, it's really up there. Iran has been hit hard by this. And I keep hearing it go back and forth whether Iran or South Korea is the second largest number of infections outside of China. But, everybody who thinks this is a joke, they could wind up dying laughing.
Well, I bet you the stock market's not a joke, is it?
No, it isn't. And
stock market's reacting to this.
They're trying to keep the stock market up because if there is a stock market crash, there will be panic in the streets. And they will go back to blaming the U.S. government. So that's why they're trying to blame it on the coronavirus. But again, what we saw on Monday and Wednesday of this last week absolutely says, no, it's not the coronavirus. It's the economy is on the verge of a collapse.
Yep. The coronavirus is just part. The stock market was in a big, fat, ugly bubble when Trump said that when he was running. The coronavirus is just a pin that pops the bubble, right?
Yeah, the coronavirus could be a trigger, but it's not the cause.
And I still look, Mike, at Italy as a Western country it's a modern country with decent healthcare system. Why is their numbers so high? Like, can anybody figure that out? Like, why are their numbers crazy with the infections and death rate?
Remember that story we ran? I think it was just it was either Wednesday or yesterday, where they have found that there actually is a mechanism where this COVID-19 does favor East Asians.
And there is two strains, but maybe there's a third one, Mike. There's an S and an L, like you said yesterday, but maybe there's a third one that nobody really knows about.
There could very well be, and there could be a fourth and a fifth and a sixth. One, if it's mutated once, it's probably going to mutate several more times.
And Mike, that's all I got to say. And like I said, I wish that last caller from Arizona really. I was kind of disappointed in what he said. I thought he was going to, he just came out and said basically, as far as I think he said that it was like a fraud. I don't think so. I don't think this is a fraud. What, the fraud to hurt Trump? I mean, I think they could do plenty of other things to hurt Trump. I mean, why would they do that? To do a fraud to hurt the economy, you got all these countries involved. Do you think all these countries want to crush their own economies? Isn't Italy more leaning toward they're trying to close their borders, right? Aren't they more conservative now? I thought with Renzi, wasn't that his name? Renzi and all that? I just don't, I find it hard to believe that this would be just to hurt Trump or nationalism, right? But this hurts actually open borders, right? This actually hurts open borders.
It does. I mean, everybody's now saying open borders is a health problem. Even Trump himself said that.
But it's kind of too late now because if you have open borders now, it's too late because the infection's already here.
You know,
So it doesn't really matter either way, right?
so far this year, they've caught 300 ethnic Chinese sneaking over the border from Mexico. So yeah, it's a major problem.
All right, Mike, have a good night.
All right, thanks an awful lot. We're going to let you go here. World infections for coronavirus has now gone over 100,000, and the CDC is saying that coronavirus now almost qualifies for pandemic status. We're going to take a break here for some commercials, and we'll be back with more phone calls after these few words.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
How would you like to earn an extra $10,000 or more a month from the comfort of your home? We show you how to win with a home-based business opportunity. This could be one of the best financial decisions you ever make. Work from home, full-time or part-time. Plus, you'll never have to talk to anyone. Our professional sales team closes all your sales for you, and you keep 70% of all the sales made. You could be earning money while you're sleeping, shopping, working out, wherever you are, day or night. Our system goes to work for you. You can make a great income without any special computer skills or sales training. Plus, you get paid fast, within just 24 to 48 hours after our professional sales team closes a sale for you. Let us help you eliminate your financial concerns. You could be earning enough money to pay off debt, buy a house, a car, or whatever the case may be. We've got you covered. If you'd like to add an extra $10,000 or more a month to your portfolio, and you would like to know exactly what we're doing and how we're doing it, go now to www.getstartedwithus.com. That's www.getstartedwithus.com. Again, that's www.getstartedwithus.com.
Many people write us about their experience with Extendivite. Allow me to read you some from Amazon.com. It really does work like the review says it does. I cannot believe that after the first few days, I didn't feel as sluggish or clogged up. It has had a profound impact on my physical, emotional well-being. I'm skeptical as most people about products and their claims, and I never write reviews, but this is a wonderful product and I recommend it to everyone. Great product. It has brought my blood pressure from the mid-150s over the 80s to the mid-130s over mid-80s, along with diet and exercise in just the past couple of months. Excellent. Thank you, David. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. Call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
We will not go down in the night without a fight. You can burn out our mosques and our homes and our schools, but our spirit will never die. We will not go down in Gaza tonight. Women and children.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show. We're going to go back to the phones to Don in Arizona. Aloha, Don. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hello, Mike. In Arizona, we don't have it. Daylight savings time. I don't have to spring forward at spring, or I don't have to worry about falling back.
Yeah, I know. We have the same. We had the same thing in Hawaii. So this is like
Right.
the first time in 17 years we're going to have to diddle with the clocks here.
Yeah, you have to get used to it. But as far as this coronavirus, right now we don't exactly know what the hell's going on. You hear all kinds of different reports, right? I mean, as far as what it is, it seems that a lot of people get it and don't get sick. So it's one of these viruses. I don't want to oversimplify, but it's one of these viruses that's like herpes on your mouth. That almost everybody has that. It's just that they don't get the cold sores. Once in a while, they'll get cold sores, but almost everybody has that in their system somewhere, right? That virus, whatever that is there. And they say that probably everybody's going to get. I've heard it said that everybody's going to get this virus sooner or later. But not everybody will get sick. Only a small percentage gets sick, and out of them, a small percentage die. So basically, it's like I say, I don't want to oversimplify it, but it's nothing to panic over because there's nothing you can do about it. Yeah, you can wash your hands a lot or whatever, but somebody still might cough right in your face, and you'll have it. So I mean, until we find out more. But then there's also this other thing that's not really been explained to my satisfaction. It has HIV in there somehow.
It has the protein spikes. Okay, when you have a virus, there's the virus itself, and then there are the attachment points, and they call them spikes because that's what sticks to the healthy cell and allows the virus to inject the viral DNA or RNA into the cell to hijack the cell's mechanism for reproduction. Most people don't consider viruses to actually be alive themselves because they cannot reproduce themselves. They have to force other cells to reproduce for them. In the case of the COVID-19, the protein spikes match those on the HIV virus.
So doesn't that kind of indicate, from what I've heard, that indicates that it was engineered?
Yes.
With the,
plus
no other viruses, none of your normal garden variety viruses that from what I can gather, it has that HIV stuff in there, the spikes or whatever.
There's also structural features in COVID-19 that are found on SARS, and SARS, like COVID-19, seem to favor Asian victims.
Yeah, Asian, but then also Iranian. What the hell is that? How does that work? In Italian, there's something weird about this whole thing, Mike. Why is it only like Dustin brought up? Why Italy? Italy's a modern country. Oh yeah, they spit a lot, I guess, on the ground and stuff. But
well, I don't know.
They're sanitary.
Don, got to let you go. Got to take a break for station identification. Back with more phone calls after these few words.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
This is RBN, the Republic Broadcasting Network.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero, because World War III is a really bad idea. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show, hour number 2. The phone lines are open, 800-313-9443. And we're going to go to Ralph in New York City. Aloha, Ralph. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, Mike, how you doing? I was just checking. I was on the talk show. I was checking out Gerald Celente from TrendsResearch.com. We were talking about the coronavirus, but it said that the real agenda is going to be the Great Depression after this election is over. I just want to know from your opinion. Do you think we are in that path?
I think we're already in recession. I mean, they keep changing the definition of recession so they can, recession, so they can say, we're not in one yet. But I think anybody looking around the country at the true scale of unemployment, the retail vacancies, is going to see this country's in serious economic trouble.
Oh yeah, I walk around New York City. You see around New York City, you start to see a lot of commercial real estate empty. Store chains are going filing for bankruptcies. I was just also in Miami the same way, Los Angeles. I mean, I'm mostly in the big cities. I mean, Celente and Peter Schiff and InfoWars, a lot of these big sites are saying that the Trump economy is an illusion. And they said that it's all a smokescreen, just hyping up the stock market until this election is over. And I just want to see where your view is on this.
No, I'm in agreement. We're still being lied to about the economy. They're still trying to use the stock market as a banner to wave that back and forth and say, see, it's the economy. That goes all the way back to Bill Clinton. But I think the dips that we saw this week are going to rattle some investors, and they're going into the weekend in negative territory, which, the normal model is a huge upshove on Friday. So they massage the market to have that happy ending so that the investor class has a nice relaxing weekend and they come back to, Monday in a positive mood. That's not going to happen this weekend, obviously.
Exactly. But do you see a play out between now and this summer or later on in the year? Is it going to be a chess game match, the way you see things going on now?
I think Donald Trump is going to do everything he can to keep the stock market up and keep the illusion of a good economy until after the general election. And after that, I don't think they can hold it together much longer.
So do you see signs of anarchy or civil unrest in the country after this election is over? If this economy really goes into a crash, do you see signs of it, or you see martial law coming?
I tend to think not, because if you go back to the Depression of the 1930s, as bad as it got, there was some occasional rioting, but nothing on a major scale.
Oh, really? I'm just starting to see. I'm starting to see the local media is talking about local crime. The crime epidemic is going up around the country. Massive unemployment. The numbers don't fit right. It's all cooked by the numbers. And it's all big smoke screen propaganda is going on, and also the primaries of this election with Bloomberg spending over $700 million in this campaign. Even though Bloomberg's my former mayor of New York, Mr. Stop and Frisk, we all know that the guy is totally arrogant with an egotistical mind. What it wants to be Mr. Nanny, what he does here with Stop and Frisk and Mr. Soda Man here.
Mm-hmm.
But it goes to show you that it's a big joke. What's your view on him?
Well, again, like I said, I think the only guide that we have to go by is how society reacted during the Depression of the 1930s. And again, heyday of organized crime. They were trying prohibition, and
right.
Yeah, it was a bit of a mess, and I think it's obviously going to be a mess again. But whether there's going to be a wide-scale uprising, I seriously don't see that.
They're just going to keep printing money and keep pacifying the people as much as they can then.
Yeah, we'll have a new Busby Berkeley making movies that people will go for escapist entertainment. and we'll finally get rid of all this politically correct lecturing media that we have right now, and they'll go back to,
Oh my God.
we're in the money, and a little bit of fantasy here, because that's what
Oh,
movies
of
are.
course. It's a disgrace. We have a mayor that built De Blasio. It's totally a total commie. AOC here in New York. It's I think in Cuomo, my home state is embarrassing. The way I see New York City and the entire political establishment and the Democratic Party is a total collapse. And I think that they're done. It will never be a comeback ever again. And also with Chucky Schumer threatening the judges of the Supreme Court. Oh my God! It's totally mind blowing and the charade of what these people are. What an insanity these people are. I'm just embarrassing. I'm an embarrassment being a New Yorker. It's amazing.
All right. Well, listen, Ralph, thank you very much for the phone call. We're going to let you go and switch over to Glenn in Philadelphia. Aloha, Glenn. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hello, Mike. Hi.
Hi.
The economic effects of this coronavirus are pretty far-reaching. As an example, Princess Cruise Lines, in order to counter some of the bad press they've experienced recently, is offering some amazing deals on cruises. The problem is there's a 14-day minimum and no predetermined return date.
Yeah.
That 14 days is the incubation period. It's
Well,
quarantine.
that's what they're saying the incubation period is, but there's kind of an indication that it may actually be longer than that.
It's a joke.
We've got one case where there is a 27 days between period of contact and development of symptoms.
Right, exactly. That's even scary. The longer it is, the worse it is. On a serious note, first of all, the effects on different countries and different races of people. What I've heard so far is that this has something to do with the number of angiotensin converting enzyme receptor sites that the person has, and that this varies from race to race. So this may be why we're seeing higher transmissibility and higher lethality in Italy and Iran and places like that. It could indeed be ethnic and may or may not be intentional.
Well, we know that produced diseases that are ethnically sensitive, like Tay-Sachs and sickle cell anemia, and so Israel's been working on ethnically sensitive bioweapons for a very, very long time. Probably so has the United States.
Yeah, and a lot of people used to hear talk even on RBN about how when the Soviet Union fell apart, Iran scooped up a lot of their biopreparat weapons scientists for pennies on the dollar. So Iran should also be a big player in this. The Russians had the city called biopreparat, and then they had their own, bioweapons program. And then, after the Soviet Union fell, they weren't paying these guys, and they went off and got work elsewhere. And Iran was one of the big participants in that.
I would imagine that the States probably would have grabbed a few of them as well. Sort of a replay of Operation Paperclip at the end of World War II.
Yeah, you would think so. Yeah. And then one other thing you just mentioned with a previous caller, the Depression and the behavior of the people, during the Depression. I would suggest that the population overall is much larger now. The population density is greater in the cities, and the character of the people is not what it was at the time of the Great Depression. So that, I think, it makes for a much more volatile situation. Plus, we've also already had some of the leftists, committing to violent acts in the event that they don't fare well in the elections in November.
Yes.
So all right, that's all. That's all I pretty much had.
All right. Well, thanks an awful lot. We're going to switch over to Darlene in Pennsylvania. Aloha, Darlene. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Well, I was just going to let you know, Mike, that here in Pennsylvania, in Bucks County, they shut down 5 schools due to an exposure to the virus. And also in Delaware County, they have 1 confirmed and in I think it's Warren County, which is right across the river from Pennsylvania. In New Jersey, they have one confirmed that they are have them house quarantined.
Okay.
But they have families, and all these children are going to be running around the streets too. So I was wondering, in a case like that, what do you do?
Well, you try not to run over the little kids running around in the streets, first and foremost. And the other is common sense, just keep your distance.
Well, I know that, but say I go to dialysis every day,
Okay.
3 times a week. And what I'm concerned about, I don't want to carry it to my friends in dialysis, or on the bus that I ride to get there. No. I have no symptoms at all. But I'm just kind of worried because we went to the store today.
In your case, I think you'd be justified in wearing a face mask. And if anybody asks why, just say, I don't have symptoms, but just in case, I want to make sure I'm not, exhaling on people.
Okay, and then that's...
I'm not a doctor, so take it worth.
I'm sorry. I was going to also tell you, we went to Sam's Club today, and they're washing all the carts down with bleach every time someone brings one back. And all the sanitary, hand sanitary stuff is gone.
I believe it.
And then my husband has pictures on his phone where he went to Walmart. All the bleach is all wiped out, everything for cleaning.
Yes.
And also, he said he's reminded me that we go to the drugstores, and people go to the drugstores because they're sick. Would it be better to have the drugs delivered or just go get them?
It would probably be better to have the drugstores deliver to you. If you're that concerned about, yeah, you're right. People who are already sick are customers who go to the drugstores.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome, and thank you for the phone call. And we're going to go to Peter in Los Angeles. Aloha, Peter. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Mike, I disagree. I think that martial law is all but inevitable. We spoke about this before, about how China is almost their normal state is not far from martial law. How the Japanese, because they're a very unified as a nation, as a people, ethnically, and everything else, and are willing to put up with a lot of stuff, and more disciplined than we are, they'll put up with it. But you try closing stores when the supply chain breaks down, closing stores so there's no food in South Central, where
Yes.
they have to, it ain't going to work here, and the people won't tolerate martial law. One of the things that in researching this 1918 flu, they did a case study in Kansas City, Kansas, and the first of the 4 waves of the flu hit there in October. The worst of it was October 1918, and they closed all the schools, closed all businesses that weren't that had and any gathering at all that numbered above 20 was closed down. That went on for a month or whatever, 6 weeks maybe, and then they relaxed some of that. And when it came back on the second wave, the virus hit later on, they no longer would tolerate those close downs. They wouldn't tolerate the same things, even though it was hitting pretty bad on the second wave. Now, this is with a homogenous, mostly like 90% white population, right? 90% Christian, very well religious and disciplined. It ain't going to happen now. And honestly, this is like, to me, this and I'm not biblical at all. This is like the 4 freaking horsemen of apocalypse. We're talking about pestilence, plague, locusts, coronavirus, wars, fact that we have the democracy is dead, that the people are being purposely set off against each other. We've got global billionaires that use us as playthings. This is really a new dark age. Individual rights are all but gone, and it's a global oligarchy. And the people who control the money, who can print the money out of nothing, they control it all. And that's the way it looks to me, Mike. But I will tell you that from a micro or national political point of view, if Trump's getting all sorts of attacks from even within his own party, the Never Trumpers, the all that, you know what? Martial law might be a pretty good thing for him. I'm on the phone. Can I come back with you? Yeah, continue. Martial law line politically look pretty good to him. The Democrats are out to get him. The deep state's out to get him. And you know what? With the National Defense Resources Preparedness Act, which was passed and ratified under Obama, he can declare martial law on, and believe me, a virus that will kill 1 million people or close that's enough to initiate that, and he can take over everything. And this is a guy who I don't think would hesitate taking over everything, and might even feel it in his own best interest to do so. So, what do you think?
It's an extreme possibility. I'm not going to say it can't happen, but I think it's unlikely.
Why do you think it's unlikely?
Because I think most voters would vote against him in November if he tried that.
But Michael, listen, here's a hypothetical. They're saying that there could be 1 million cases, 1.4 million by July 4th. I read that on your site. Hello? So let's say there's 1 million cases and everything's shut down and the schools are shut down and everything, businesses to a large extent are coming to a standstill. And so then Congress goes on hiatus in August. So let's say Trump declares martial law, and he has every right to do under the law. We were stupid enough to allow presidents to have this power. He gives martial law. Congress is on hiatus. There wouldn't be an election. They go off there, and Trump takes over everything. All the airwaves, or the president, whoever he might be, all the airwaves, all the transportation, all the hospitals, everything. They take over everything, and under the National Defense Resources Preparedness Act, used to be on WhiteHouse.gov, the whole thing. He doesn't have to do anything except report back to Congress after 1 year. So Congress is dissolved. They're on their hiatus. They're back in Dallas or L.A. or Hawaii or Indiana, and they're not coming back. They can't get on the air. They can't do anything because he controls the airways. He controls everything. That's the way the law is written.
I understand that's the way the law is written, but I think that if Trump were to try something that draconian, that we probably would see more of a reaction from the American people. I know I would certainly react to that because that's not the way this country is supposed to run. On the other hand, you're right. If ordinary people don't wise up and follow the basic precautions to prevent the spread of this, we could reach the point where that does become necessary.
Yeah, and I would submit to you that Trump might even politically think it's advantageous. I mean, he's the absolute dictator for at least a year. And in that time, he could have already executed Congress for all we know. He controls the airwaves and all communications. How would we even know? But or any president. But the ruling billionaire oligarchs, and you know who they are, have invested so much power in the puppet presidents that they think that they can control so well. But this is one where he could round up everybody and do whatever he wanted to do. And he has the justification is there.
It's possible, but it's unlikely. And Peter, I'm going to have to let you go. We got to take another break for commercials. Got another caller waiting on the line, and we will be right back.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
When your doctor tells you have bad cholesterol or blockages in the arteries, what do? When diet and exercise is not enough, we try medications and hope for the best. For the last 2 decades, I have been telling people about a natural method to help solve these problems and more. Extendovite can help maintain cardiovascular health and lower blood lipid levels in adults. The 7 herbs in Extendovite are known to work together synergistically to get the results we hope for. There are many testimonials on Extendovite's effect on circulatory-related ailments. Get Extendovite today to start your journey back to a healthier life. To order, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com or see us on amazon.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
What Really Happened with your host, Mike Rivero. Visit us online at whatreallyhappened.com. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show. We're going to go back to the phones to Milton in Pennsylvania. Aloha, Milton. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind today?
Yes, Mike. Follow the previous gentleman that said about the martial law. My understanding was, and please correct me so I understand, if the president declares martial law, he could suspend the Constitution law up to 5 years, and not even an act of Congress can bring it back. Is that correct?
I believe that's correct. See, there's a whole series of what are called the FEMA laws that go all the way back to Richard Nixon, which were these executive orders placed in the Federal Registry, and because the Congress didn't object to them then, they're now part of the president's authority. This is why presidents always declare this or that state of emergency, as it gives them more authority. And all the president has to do is declare a national emergency for whatever cause might be out there, whether it's a pandemic or an invasion or rioting in the streets. And he gets all these authorities to just take direct federal control of pretty much everything in this country. And you're right, Congress would not be able to reassert the Constitution. I mean, look how much trouble they're having trying to regain their authority over war making.
Right, yeah. Now, to follow up on that now, let's say that martial law is declared and it goes a year past what due date was for the election. Now, if for some reason it was taken off, do we have an election yet and Trump could still run?
Well, in theory, if the election is called off, Trump would stay in office.
Yeah, but sooner or later we would have to come up with an election, right?
That would be up to Donald Trump.
So in other words, if theoretically, then he could sneak in almost, 3 terms.
He could be president for life.
Yeah, that's kind of scary. I don't care who it is.
Yeah,
Somebody
it
has
is.
that power.
That's not the way America is supposed to run.
Yeah, that's scary. Okay, Mike, I got a little better understanding of that. I'll be out there jumping around everybody else if that should pass. I'll tell you.
All right. All right, getting on back to the coronavirus. Apparently, North Korea's Kim Jong-un has sent a letter expressing hope for South Korea to overcome their coronavirus outbreak. And apparently, Moon Jae-in's office said the South is battling the biggest epidemic of the disease outside China. I keep hearing that it's Iran outside of China. So they keep flipping back. Again, we don't have reliable numbers on any of this stuff. Now, the other day we had a story where Chinese scientists were saying this did not originate in China. It originated somewhere else, possibly the United States. And now we have this prominent Chinese dissident wants Vice President Pence to look at the possibility Beijing might try to place the origin of the coronavirus outbreak with the United States. Well, again, I can't help but noticing that the two countries that are being hardest hit by COVID-19 are countries deemed to be threats to the United States, mainly China and Iran. Now, the other day we were talking about how China is now banning the export of pharmaceuticals and medical supplies. They're keeping them all inside the country in case they're going to need them. Well, apparently India has now joined that as well. India is banning pharmaceutical exports and medical equipment that is manufactured inside their country. There are going to be shortages of this stuff here in the United States of America because we've stopped being a manufacturing power. And we were manufacturing powers going into World War I, going into World War II. Here we are on the edge of World War III. We have to go to other countries to get almost everything that we need. That is a tremendous, tremendous strategic weakness. Apparently, orders and sales of heavy trucks and medium-duty trucks are plunging in the U.S., again, because of the uncertainty over COVID-19 and whether or not work is going to get done or products are going to be taken to the stores here. Speaking of the stores, supermarkets are preparing for food riots as part of the emergency plans to feed the nation. But apparently high-end stores, the prestige stores, they're empty. They're all but deserted. People don't want to go into those stores because there are going to be other shoppers and they're going to be concerned about catching the disease. But they are going to the basic stores and cleaning out toilet paper, bleach, rubber gloves, all kinds of stuff. Okay, now, apparently down in Australia, toilet paper production is now running 24 hours a day. People are stocking up on that at all. And we're starting to see it here in this part of Indiana. We were at the market earlier today and getting a little more toilet paper. And I noticed the shelves were all fronted. In other words, there were rolls of toilet paper on the front of the shelves, but when you peek behind, completely empty all the way back, to the vertical part of the shelves. So yeah, it's getting a little bit tight out there. Somebody wrote me an email saying that Comic-Con in Seattle has in fact been postponed. The other day we were talking about it, all the things in Washington State that were being postponed, and they said, no, Comic-Con is going on. Well, apparently that too has changed. It was originally scheduled for March 12th through the 15th. It's been postponed. They don't have a new date yet as to when it will take place. So this email goes on to say, this is not the flu. It's a new form of virus. Well, it's a new form of coronavirus, which has been around for a while. But you're right. This is not influenza. Okay, we got to take another break for commercials. We'll be right back after these two words.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Homeowners, are you in foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction? A huge number of mortgages made in the last 10 years have legal issues and are possibly defective. State laws and the U.S. Supreme Court have upheld that defective mortgage documents are grounds for foreclosure defense and for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or assigned since closing the loan, it may be defective and you may be paying the wrong party, and the lender may not have standing or the right to foreclose or collect payments under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party, we can help. Our initial consultations are free of charge. We are not attorneys. We are legal researchers and work closely with experienced lawyers who know how to help you find the evidence to help you keep your home. Call toll-free 1-855-2-KEEP-IT. That's 1-855-2-KEEP-IT today.
Here at Republic Broadcasting Network, we have been building our online store. Well, we have been focusing on bringing you the best talk show host in the country. Here at Republic Broadcasting Network, we also want our listeners to have products they can use every day and in times of emergency. We have added new products each week to our store. Your support of this network, plus products at the best prices, is a win-win situation. Check out our new store. Go to our website, republicbroadcasting.org, and click on the online store located at the top of our website. Together, we can continue to grow RBN and help our listeners prepare for the future. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and click on our online store or call us.
800-724-2719, extension 3. 800-724-2719, extension 3.
Don't regret growing old. It's a privilege denied to many. Heart disease is taking our youth from us. Young people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond are dying needlessly. One of the hardest messages I've ever had to deliver is to convince people that something natural like Extendivite should be taken as a preventative measure. I'm sure you heard an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Extendivite is that ounce. Take Extendivite for 1 year and see what your doctor has to say and how much better you feel. Herbs take time to address the problem. It took years of life to have a problem. Give Extendivite 1 year to fix the problem. Don't wait until it's too late. Call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com or visit us on Amazon.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Welcome to What Really Happened Radio. Visit us online at whatreallyhappened.com. And now, set your eyes on the future and let's consider what really happened.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. And we're still talking about the coronavirus. Apparently, over 200,000 attendees have been barred because the Ohio government has shut down the Arnold Schwarzenegger Bodybuilding Expo. And apparently, spectators are now being banned from athletic events. Now, we talked about this the other day, but it's worth mentioning again. Back in 1976, there was a swine flu scare, and it resulted in a mandatory vaccination campaign ordered for all Americans, except the vaccine had problems. For one thing, it killed 50 times as many people as the swine flu did, and for those it didn't kill, it inflicted neurological brain damage, permanent neurological brain damage, called Guillain-Barré syndrome. And obviously, as they rush to create a new vaccine for coronavirus, the possibility of a mistake cannot be ignored. And that was the rationale behind indemnifying vaccine manufacturers, saying that if there was a crisis and we needed a vaccine, we have to rush it through, we have to fast track it, and we've got to protect those poor old vaccine companies from civil litigation. And that's when that whole vaccine court was set up, to limit the amount of financial damage that the vaccine companies would have to pay if they put out a bad product, which they have on several occasions here. As I mentioned earlier in the show, 328 Chinese have been nabbed trying to enter the United States illegal from within Mexico. So Data from the Department of Homeland Security shows these immigrants from China were caught trying to, cross the border illegally. And we don't know what diseases they're carrying. And Donald Trump is absolutely right in the tweet that he said that a weak border is a health crisis, danger to the public health. Over in Iran, the head of its elite Revolutionary Guards is claiming that the United States could be the prime culprit behind COVID-19 outbreak that hit China and then Iran. It is possible that this virus is a product of a biological attack by America, which initially spread to China, then to Iran and the rest of the world. He vowed that Iran would fight the virus and cautioned that the illness will return to the United States. Well, it's already done that one here. Apparently over in Israel, up to 100,000 people are now in isolation. Israel is expanding their traveler quarantine, and they're calling it the most dangerous epidemic in the last 100 years. Okay, so getting on back here. To the international news now we go. Actually, before we do that, we're going to take a phone call from Joe in Tennessee. Aloha, Joe. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, Mike. My phone was couldn't get through to you about an hour. All the circuits were weird. I don't know. Anyway, I'll get paranoid. I think the government shut me off. So I got through, thank God. Anyway, I wanted to talk about Elizabeth Warren and what a self-immolation, basically. And here she is blaming sexism again. It's interesting is, we all, and you were right. I was wrong about that debate with Bloomberg when everybody said he looked horrible. And I just looked at what he had to say instead of the complete optics of it. But one of the other things I saw in that debate was Elizabeth Warren and how she looked hysterical and, with her horse face lesbian comment and stuff, which is pretty funny. But I guess Bloomberg said it, not her. But the interesting thing is when I talk to any of the women in my family and everything, how much they really despised her. That woman was what my mom called her. And then my sister, who's a lefty herself, really was upset by her antics with her saying that, he told her to kill it and all these other, grandstandings. So I bet you if you did a survey of the Democratic Party, you would find out that most of the sexism that's targeted towards Elizabeth Warren is other women, because I saw what she was doing and in that debate, and she looked like a hysterical, shrill, what do they call a woman? A shrew? Is that the word for it?
I think so.
And I think women pick up on that more than men, and I really, it's probably an uncomfortable thing for them to poll or to look into it, being our media is such in the corner for crazed social justice warrior, hysterical white Indian pretending women from Harvard, that they would, they wouldn't look at these uncomfortable facts. It's kind of like the progressive with Bernie and how, you get all these lefty college girls and stuff, and they're finding out that it looks like it's the blacks, that didn't want anything to do with Bernie, and they went along with the Democratic establishment and their preachers and guys like Claiborne and whatever, and said, we don't want this Bernie guy, and we'll go with Joe Biden. He's Obama's boy or whatever. And I just think it's kind of the irony to me is really what's interesting here and not commented on. It's the irony that I'll guarantee it was the women that turned on Warren, and it was really the blacks that turned on the progressives. And so it's to me, once again, it's progressives love to go out there and white lefties and college people, they love to pretend like they speak for the underclass and the blacks and all that stuff. And I think black people are smarter than that, and I give them credit. Although Biden is no spring chicken, I think that they probably are more alarmed by Bernie and his socialism, or however they want to put it. But it's just, to me, like it's very interesting politically that, like I said, and what's also interesting is how these subjects aren't really talked about on the mainstream media. They're just kind of glossed over. But once again, I really found it. I remember watching Elizabeth Warren and saying, boy, she's blowing herself up going after Bloomberg because she's just looking like, ugly. And you can't look that ugly and then expect to win, And meanwhile, you hear about other lefties commenting about that she's right, there is sexism. But you notice how they just never say anything about Tulsi Gabbard and how she's being, run off the stage. And, they don't talk about her when they talk about females for some reason. She's like odd man out, I guess, because of her politics.
And her prettiness.
Yeah, a real quick comment on the coronavirus. I'm still waiting for somebody to tell me whether or not it's a bioweapon or not. You think that that's something that we could know by now? We spend all these billions.
If it's Chinese, they'll never admit to it. If it's American, they'll never admit to it. Everybody signed this treaty to ban biological weapons, and yet everybody's still out there making them, especially the United States.
Well, I'm not looking for anybody to say, like, it's a bioweapon that the Chinese did or it's a bioweapon that we did. I can avoid, like, for now, who's responsible. But I'd like them to come out once and for all and say whether it's a bioweapon or not, But they won't. They act like, it's kind of like the flu.
Because the next question would be, who did such a horrible thing?
But I mean, to me, once again, it's kind of like how do you prepare for a flu is a lot different than how do you get yourself ready for a bioweapon, And it's kind of, once again, it just shows how the people don't really want to tell you what's really going on at such a level. It's the like elephant in the room, and yet nobody in the entire media has ever asked Trump, or they won't ask Pence, or they won't ask anybody whether or not it's a bioweapon. The only one that ever mentioned it I saw was Tom Cotton, the senator, saying that it was a bioweapon. And I mean, if I was in this press, I would say, like, hey, Mr. President, you have a great relationship with President Xi in China. Have you ever asked them, like, is this a bioweapon, or do you know, we have all these $1 billion worth of scientists and CDC, all these analysts and colleges and universities and research labs. Is this a bioweapon or not? But it shows that it's not just the government that's keeping it away, this information from us. It's the usual suspects, the media, in bed with the government, And it just bothers me. It's like, because I think that's an important thing for us to know. They had to come out here and here's Pence now. Notifying the public, and all it is nonsense. It's nothing really tangible that they're giving us. Like, let's feeding the pigs their slop. That's kind of just the way I feel about it. I'd kind of like some information.
Well, we'd all like information, and what information is out there is often self-contradictory. It's confusing. It's inaccurate. Like I said, CDC's got one set of numbers. Fox News has another set of numbers. We don't really know. And a big part of the problem, of course, is that they failed to meet their 1 million tests by Friday deadline. There aren't enough testing kits going around. We could have 1,000 more people who've got COVID-19, and we don't know because they're not able to be tested. There was one story where a nurse with all of the full protective gear, working with COVID-19 patients, and she caught it, or thinks she caught it, but they won't test her. She's asked for a test. They said, we don't have the test.
Yeah, this is a real disaster in the making. We went through that MERS. Remember? I remember the hysterical with that. And we went through SARS. That was another one, a big hysteria there. And I hear people talk about Trump, and he didn't shut down all the airplanes, and everything. But just as damaging or deadly than the virus can be an economic collapse. I mean, people don't realize how razor thin like our economy is, and that's a problem. It's all I've been against globalism for years, just for part of the reason why is that, because you're vulnerable. But it seems like if should Obama have shut down the country with MERS, it would have been a big mistake in hindsight, wouldn't it? Or
yes,
should he have shut down all flights when we had SARS? He didn't, and it would have been a mistake to do it in hindsight. Now, Trump, he did shut down a lot of flights from China, out of the province where Wuhan is. He shut all flights from there, and he changed the flights that, you know, the one caller calls in and says, yeah, there's flights still coming into L.A., and he's right, but they're like Hong Kong and they put more stringent checks on passengers that come out. They check their temperature and everything. At the same time, they limited the airports that they are coming into. I think there's only, and this was February 1st when Trump did this, which is before it even got this bad. But Trump did limit. There's only 4 airports that come in from China now. I think it's like L.A., San Francisco, New York, and maybe Houston. I'm not exactly sure. So before there was like 20 different airports that the flights from China was coming in, but Trump did limit them so they could be screened when they come into this country too. So the one caller that calls and says, you know, Trump did nothing I think that he is very reasonable what he did, to tell you the truth. I mean, he could have jumped the gun and said, all right, no more airplanes, shut down every train in the country, shut down every school. He could have done that a month ago and maybe appeased your one caller with the one with the Trump derangement syndrome. But that's kind of not really what you know, I wouldn't expect it, you know, of him to do that. He's got a big, like a lot of plates spinning in the air to balance, you know. Once again, if he would have done that, the economy probably could have collapsed, and they would have definitely blamed it all on him for why'd you shut down all the airplanes? Why'd you shut down all the trains and the schools? So I think Trump is actually being very reasonable, and it's a very difficult situation. I mean, I don't really envy, you know, there's kind of a lot of bad decisions to make here, you know. Do you shut down all the schools? Do you shut down all the universities, you know? So, you know, it's easy to call and run people down, but you should get your facts a little better. And also you should try to put yourself in the situation of the bigger picture too, you know. It's, you know, I mean, Obama, I guess in hindsight from that one caller, Obama should have shut the whole country down with MERS too, or SARS. But once again, I really like to get the information on what this virus is, because if it is a bioweapon, we need to know the nature of the bioweapon, and then possibly we will have to shut down all the schools and everything else. But right now, they're just, I don't know. I just find it odd that we're not being told one way or the other.
Well, yeah, and again, I think from the Trump administration's point of view, they're trying to balance necessities, and one of their necessities is to keep the economy up, both for Trump's reelection and to avoid financial panic in general. Anyway, thank you very much.
You know, okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for the phone call. We're going to go to Chris in Clearwater. Aloha, Chris. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Well, Mike, you know, as of December 1st last year, that as the Law Library of Congress has recorded, that Wuhan began mandatory coronavirus vaccines. So we need to look at that, because if it's not an attenuated virus, if it's a viable virus, then it will certainly cause viral shedding, spreading to other people, which can, in the case of other vaccines, last weeks or months, depending on the vaccine. I have a call coming in. Can you still read me?
I can still hear you.
Oh, good. Okay. Sorry about that. And if I break up, let me know. I also discovered yesterday the CDC's website, and this can be validated by going to the Wayback Machine. The Wayback Machine at archive.org. When you just plug in the CDC's website for U.S. statistics for COVID-19, that they are no longer separating prospective from confirmed cases. And their site now says, quote, data include both confirmed and presumptive positive cases of COVID-19 reported to CDC or tested at CDC since January 21st, 2020, with the exception of testing results for persons repatriated to the United States from Wuhan, China, and Japan. And that's a quote. And also, for your information, as of March 5th, 2020, 1,583 patients had been tested at CDC. This does not include testing being done at state and local public health laboratories, which began this week. That's also a quote. And from the same webpage, CDC is no longer reporting the number of persons under investigation, or PUIs, that have been tested, as well as PUIs that have tested negative. Now that states are testing and reporting their own results, CDC's numbers are not representative of all testing being done nationwide. Now, why in the heck are they obfuscating the data and admittedly not reporting the data? Several times per day at the Wayback Machine, where they archive web pages at archive.org, several times per day they are archiving this web page. The faulty tests. I'm listening to talk shows, doing my own research, calling into shows.
Chris,
and as far as yes,
going to put you on hold. Got to take a break for commercials. Don't hang up. I'm going to come right back to you after these few words.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcasts. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
Many people write us about their experience with Extendivite. Allow me to read you some from Amazon.com. This product is superb. I have been taking it for about a year now, and I can feel my cardiovascular system run like a Swiss watch. I definitely recommend this product for anyone that has high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and heart palpitations, A+. It's potent, but it works. I have been waking up for the past 3 years with numb hands, and a week into using Extendivite, my numb hands seem to have cleared up. My circulation was off, and now it's back on track. So I'm happy. I feel so energized, and I have my husband on it now. My mother-in-law has cholesterol problems, so I bought her a bottle as well. Thank you so much. Love the product. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. Call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Hey, honey, I'm home. I grabbed the newspaper on the way home. Look at all the news today.
The newspaper? Don't you know that all you're going to get in the newspaper is propaganda, twisted news, and false information?
Honey, this is a national newspaper. It has to be true.
Ha! For some reason, a majority of the population believe anything the mainstream media tells them. The newspaper does not give out the important attention on what's happening to this country and news that affects our daily lives. Say, does that newspaper mention anything about the North American Union?
No, not that I can see.
I didn't think so. You need to go to www.newswithviews.com, where truth is more important than political correctness. That's www.newswithviews.com. Hey, don't throw that away. We can use that in the birdcage.
Okay, move over. Let me start reading newswithviews.com. The truth? Read all about it at newswithviews.com. Newswithviews.com, where reality shatters illusion.
Some are maxed out all their credit cards. Some are working 2 jobs and living in cars. Minimum wage won't pay for a roof, won't pay for a drink. If you gotta have proof, just try it yourself, Mr. CEO. See how far 5.15 an hour will go. Take a part-time job at one of your stores. I bet you can't make it here anymore.
Okay, welcome back to our show here. We're coming up on the top of the hour, and the lovely Lady Claire, who is even now walking into the room here to join us. And we'll be putting her on headset here at the top of the hour. We're talking with Chris in Clearwater. And Chris, could you kind of pick up where you left off? Chris, are you there?
Yes, I'm sorry, Mike. From all my speaking to, say, talk show hosts, doctors, or guests of my research, that the test that's being used in hospitals is the PCR test
Yes.
and the polyp chain reaction test. I can't find any other test that's being used. And the
Well,
PCR
there's an
test,
antibodies test as well.
pardon me?
I think there's an antibodies test as well.
Oh, okay. All right. I would like to, yeah, that would be more conclusive. The PCR test just measures fragments of DNA and amplifies them in order to measure them. But if your body has already cleared the virus, there's going to be that viral debris of the DNA and RNA. And and as you probably know, one of the co-inventors, Kary Mullis, who won the Nobel Prize 1993 for chemistry, says that it's not reliable. Though it could be a good preliminary test, it's not conclusive. As far as I know, that the only conclusive testing would be in a cell culture where they use an electron microscope to find higher viral counts. But I'm no expert, so I'm just trying to figure out what the most conclusive way to come up with accurate statistics would be, and if that is being employed or not.
Well, there's a genetic test where they literally go in and they map out the genome, but that's very time consuming and very expensive. So I think they're only using it, as a second confirmation test if it's being used at all.
All right. And on the news is reporting that they're blaming Trump for having faulty tests and poor response. Well, what about the State Department of Health? I mean, I have a good friend who's very anti-Trump, and I am as well, but for better reasons than the non-slave stream media reports, But, he might be an apparatchik of Big Pharma, multinational corporation, these multinational corporations with no allegiance to any country. And I think that it's diverting attention, the reporting of the faulty tests is diverting attention from the fact that the PCR test is not conclusive, because when I bring that up, my friend is repeatedly insisting that, Trump didn't respond well and these faulty tests are out there. I'm saying, well, no, even if the tests were not faulty, they're not conclusive. And that's what the media is not reporting. So when someone is so anti-federale, anti-Trump, they're going to stick with what they've been hearing on CNN, which my good friend is a listener to. So that, it needs to be pointed out that I would like to find the most conclusive data available, and I don't think it's out there. The Cheryl Atkinson reported the H1N1. I'm sorry if I'm repeating this, but H1N1 tests were not being done by the states back in 2009 when there was the alleged outbreak.
Okay, Chris, we're going to have to let you go. We got to do station identification. Back with the lovely Lady Claire, and more phone calls after these few words.
How would you like to earn an extra $10,000 or more a month from the comfort of your home? We show you how to win with a home-based business opportunity. This could be one of the best financial decisions you ever make. Work from home, full-time or part-time. Plus, you'll never have to talk to anyone. Our professional sales team closes all your sales for you, and you keep 70% of all the sales made. You could be earning money while you're sleeping, shopping, working out, wherever you are, day or night. Our system goes to work for you. You can make a great income without any special computer skills or sales training. Plus, you get paid fast, within just 24 to 48 hours after our professional sales team closes a sale for you. Let us help you eliminate your financial concerns. You could be earning enough money to pay off debt, buy a house, a car, or whatever the case may be. We've got you covered. If you'd like to add an extra $10,000 or more a month to your portfolio, and you would like to know exactly what we're doing and how we're doing it, go now to www.getstartedwithus.com. That's www.getstartedwithus.com. Again, that's www.getstartedwithus.com.
You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network because you can handle the truth.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, where you'll find out what the Fukushima's going on.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show, hour number 3. And for those of you watching on YouTube, this gorgeous creature sitting next to me after such a long time is the lovely Lady Claire. And thank you for sitting in today. I've missed you.
Oh, I've missed this too, Michael. And I want to take a moment. I know we've got some callers on the line, but I want to take a moment and thank those people who were holding good thoughts for you and me and this little family of 2 when you were so sick and in recovery. And folks, I could feel those prayers. Okay, thank you. I can't begin to thank you enough for that.
All right. Well, listen,
Bless
we
you.
have a comment coming in from Dave in crucialnonsense.com.
Okay.
Aloha,
great.
Dave. You wanted to say something to the Lady Claire.
Yeah, welcome back, Claire. It's wonderful to have you back on the air here. We've had to do a lot of fighting here to get the YouTube stream back up and running. Mike with his mixer and all the hardware and the compressed rust left over from Oahu. It's been a labor of love, and it is
Yeah.
wonderful to see finally things coming back together and things
Oh,
getting
yeah.
back to normal, and we get our Friday clarification. So awesome on that. And I'm so glad the 2 of you are doing better. What a blessing that is. So have a great show. Thanks for being here.
All right.
thank
Thanks an
you.
awful lot. And before we get into Claire's news here, we're going to take a couple more phone calls. Mark in Montana. Aloha, Mark. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Michael, Claire, how are you doing?
We're doing fine. Thank you.
I actually work out. Awesome. I work out in the oil fields of Texas. We've talked a few times before, and I'm kind of smart the way this goes. The production end or the exploration end is dying off now because the oil prices are so low.
Yeah.
And so I got out of that, and I'm actually working more on the production end, where I'm actually delivering stuff out to the rig locations.
Right.
And so part of that is I've got a company credit card where I got to go in and buy stuff. You couldn't get a can of Lysol in Midland, Odessa right now for
Oh
nothing.
my gosh.
You can't get Clorox wipes. You can't get toilet paper. The shelves are freaking empty because these rig sites and these people working for the oil companies know that whatever they buy is paid for by the oil companies, so they don't give a crap what they pay for it. And
Yeah.
believe me, when I deliver it, they're paying for it. So I just kind of want to give you a heads up on that. We're kind of at the end of the supply chain out here anyhow, but we're starting to run out of stuff. And then, of course, the Chinese embargo, or whatever you want to call it, the quarantine, has made electronics hard to get, you know. These people spend money hand over fist, and right now it doesn't matter what they're paying. They can't get big screen televisions for their bunkhouses. So, yeah. Just thought I'd give you a little update on that because the Lysol and the Clorox and anything like that is non-existent right now. I'm having to go out and deliver stuff without the necessary disinfectants.
Yikes. That's scary. That's really scary. And by the way, I know a little bit about that area because my late grandparents used to live there, my mom's mother and her husband. And I remember them as being honorable, plain-speaking people, worked hard to get where they got to, and just good people out there. So, yeah.
Yeah, Odessa, Texas isn't hell, but it's the same area code.
Yes, I kind of remember
like
that
that.
too.
I
I
like
kind of
that.
remember that too.
Yeah. We always have a saying about Odessa,
Uh-huh.
pretty girl behind every tree. Problem is there's no trees out here.
Yes, okay, I remember that.
There's absolutely no trees. You know, one thing about it though, it does provide a good living for me. If you can find some way to fork out $2,500 a month for a 1-bedroom apartment, you can make a good living out here. You know, unfortunately, my company provides me with housing at a nice subsidized rate of $150 a month. So I do share a 2-bedroom place with 16 other guys.
Okay.
So, but we all work rotations. It's kind of, but it is a good living. If somebody would be interested, the production end again is going down.
Yeah.
or the exploration end is going down. That's the drilling and the rig moving and that kind of stuff. But the production end, which is the pump jacks and the pipeline, that stuff's all still here, and it will be here for the foreseeable future. The big wigs that I've talked to that have made predictions are predicting in the next 2 to 3 months oil back up over 50 and up to close to 70 by the end of the year. So
what do they
it'll come back.
what do they think is going to be driving this? I'm curious as to their rationale for these numbers.
You know, oil is an enigma, man. I don't even know how to guess it. Every election year, oil crashes like this, and the exploration end always crashes in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Until the new budget comes out in January. Well, it's a new budget. We should have a new budget, but it's an election.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's somebody manipulating it or what. I tend to not have that conspiracy theory that's being manipulated, but I think we see the prices going up because we are exporting oil, and the coronavirus I think has a lot to do with this too, where they're saying 10% of Iran has.
Okay, your phone is kind of fading out on us, Mark. Can you kind of wrap up?
That oil. Oh, sure. That's all I got. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for
the phone call, and we're going to switch over to Tom in Florida. Aloha, Tom. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Aloha, Michael. Good day to you and your beautiful wife, Claire. And that was really nice what she said about the prayers. And yeah, we did. And I'll tell you, Michael. I just got to say this. You know, I the other day I was watching a movie. I was watching Back to the Future, and you remember in the movie it's you're Doc and she's Claire. So that was a great movie, and I keep watching it every time I see it on TV. And you remember their 2 kids, Michael? You remember what the kids' names are that they named their kids, right?
I'm having a hard time remembering.
I don't either.
Jules and Vern.
Oh yes.
Remember,
okay. Yes.
They named the kid Jules Verne. But anyway, I saw that movie 2 days ago, and when I heard Claire, that movie kicked in. I saw Back to the Future. That was really good. You know, Michael, speaking of that one guy you were just talking about, Odessa. I remember going to Odessa in 2012. That place smells nothing but oil. I mean, and everybody. When we were in Odessa, everybody in that little city, they must all had $100,000 pickup trucks. I mean, I never seen so many beautiful pickup trucks in my life in one town. So, you know, all those guys that worked in those oil rigs have some really beautiful trucks. But anyway, Michael, the reason I called you is today, I was wondering, did you see the news, the interview with Ben Carson today?
No, I did not.
Okay, well, they had Ben Carson on OAN, and Fox News had him on, and a couple other networks even, Newsmax. And he was saying that the illegal aliens get treated better than the homeless in California. They get better hospitalization. Yep. They got AC in these places they're staying. They bring them into. They're in the 180-some thousand homeless in California are getting treated like garbage. And they were also talking about these 5,000 people on the ship in San Francisco that Newsom won't let them off the ship, but he's letting all these illegals come through the southern border without getting checked out thoroughly.
Including the Chinese.
There's the irony. You know, there's the irony of this whole policy. Writ large.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really sad because even Ben Carson, he was like being, I don't know what the word is. He was being, I don't know what the word is. He was basically telling the guy who was interviewing him, hey, listen, these people that are coming living in these camps on the border are living better than a lot of American citizens in the state of California. A lot of Americans in California are living in their cars, Michael.
Yes.
Yeah, we know that. We've
even
seen
people
that.
with full cars.
Yeah, and what gets me are the kids. I mean, do these kids get education? Can they go to a school if they're living homeless? I don't know. That was a big problem on Oahu for some time, and a minister who was a former minister of mine was very active in advocating for homeless kids. It shouldn't have to be this way with American citizens. I'm sorry, but no, it just shouldn't.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of that ship in San Francisco Harbor, the story just broke that 21 of those passengers have now tested positive for COVID-19.
Oh, man. That's not good at all.
And we're talking about the initial contagion was more than a month ago. So much for the 2-week quarantines.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Michael, they were talking about that too. A lot of these people that are on that ship, they already went on one cruise and they came back and went out again. The ship was already out to sea, came back to port, went back out. Now it's back in port. I mean, how many other people did they bring into San Francisco sick?
Whoa,
not only the 21.
Yeah.
Well, the ship is not in port yet. They haven't decided what port they're going to send it to, because they're going to have to basically
scrub it down.
They're going to have to scrub it down, and they're going to have to make sure the people who are getting off the ship are properly examined and quarantined. But so far, 21 have tested positive.
Well, I got a little also breaking news for you, Michael and Claire. Here in South Florida, in the papers down here, now they're talking that Cuba has some, it looks like they have symptoms of the virus in Cuba.
Oh, dear.
Well, considering the embargo, one has to wonder how it got there.
Yeah.
Did a small airplane fly over Cuba and drop off little viri?
I don't know, but yeah, that's bizarre because we're talking about an island where they do have some very good health care. In fact, in Canada, and we learned this from a friend of ours, George, remember?
Yes, I remember George.
And he was formerly a police officer in Canada, and he had
He
to
was
have
a firefighter. Wasn't he?
and
Yeah.
didn't he have to have shoulder and knee replacements?
Yes.
And what Canada does is they have them do the rehab in Cuba because the programs are outstanding. They get the job done. These people are brought back to functional in a very short period of time, and it's done intelligently and well.
See, Bernie Sanders, you were right.
Yes.
Well, you know, Michael, in Cuba, they do have their biggest, other than Canada, like Claire's saying, tourists that go to Cuba, the Canadians are number one. Number two, believe it or not, are Chinese from China.
That would surprise me.
Mainland China.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, you know,
And then
those
after that-
cigars are really good, and so's that Cuban rum.
Yes.
Well, exactly. So I just thought I'd break that out to you because those reported on the news radio stations here in South Florida that now they're thinking that Cuba's going to have a big outbreak of this corona. So I don't know. But, you know, I'll let you go because I know you got other callers. Michael, I decided to say one more thing. Talking about Ben Carson, this is the most – if Ben Carson would have acted like this, I believe, in 2016, he'd have been kind of tough to beat because he was really to the point. He was articulate. I mean, he was really, hey, you know, explaining to these reporters, hey, you know, this country's got to change its attitude with immigration or we're going to be swamped. Who knows what's going to end up happening here? This is nuts.
Yeah, we are.
So he was right. Yeah. And anyway, that's all I got, Michael, I guess, today. So thanks for taking my call. And like I said, we got by the sanctuary cities. We'll see if Trump's how much money he's going to hold off from these sanctuary cities. I think it's a big start. Really do.
Definitely a good start here.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the phone call, Tom. We're going to switch over to Mark in North Carolina. Boy, the phone lines are loading up here.
This is
Mark,
good.
aloha. What's on your mind?
Hey, aloha, guys. Hey, look, I just want to welcome both of you guys back now, okay? Claire, glad to see you're back, too.
Good to be
Okay.
back.
All right. And anyway, I was going to comment first on what the guy was saying about the oil fields, about in the price of oil. And something I heard today in another show called Fault Line with Lee Stranahan and Garland Nixon. And they're saying that Russia has now said they're not going to go along with any kind of restrictions on producing oil. They're going full bore. So I don't think that's because, you know, despite the stupid sanctions we put them on, we actually did them a favor since they've diversified their economy so much now that oil is not the only thing and gas isn't the only thing they produce. So I think, if anything, gas prices are going to come low, get lower in the next coming months. And we may even start to see $1 a gallon again, or maybe even less.
Wow.
The other thing is about the coronavirus. Beg your pardon? I'm sorry.
I wouldn't hold your breath. You know, they're going to want to keep those gas prices up somehow, even if they have to fake a shortage.
Yeah, well, if there's a lot of oil on the market, I don't see how they're going to do it. But anyway, on top of it, when the demand goes down, as far as coronavirus goes, they could have actually done a lot to prevent this in the first place.
Yes,
and I think air travel should have been shut down weeks ago already. I'm not only talking about from China. I'm talking about from anywhere, and probably even domestic air travel, because that's a very big vector of germs.
Right.
Yeah, you know.
seeing any aircraft coming in from Seattle.
Nope, definitely not.
Yeah, SeaTac Airport? Nope. No
Nope.
thanks.
Nope. Yeah.
Definitely not.
On the other hand, the airfares are really low right now. They're like 60% off.
And by the way, I urge everybody to really load up on your vitamin C, your vitamin B, your D3.
Yeah.
If you're in an area where there's a lot of sunshine, go out there and get that sunshine.
Right.
You got to do everything you can to keep up that immune system. I've been doing that. I've been loading up on top of that with dry food. I'm waiting for the possibility of shortages here in North Carolina.
Yeah.
I've also got a load of toilet paper, and like I said, a load of vitamins and all kinds of good dry foods, rice, beans, you name it, spices to put on it.
Yeah.
So I think everybody needs to do that.
I agree.
I posted a picture of what I have on Facebook today, as a matter of fact. And by the way, I hope y'all go to my YouTube site too. I put some pretty interesting stuff on there. Okay.
Oh, okay. All right. Listen, thank you so much for the call. We appreciate you pitching.
You take it easy, and you be good.
Go ahead. Oh, I think he just hung up.
Yes, I think he
All
just
right,
left.
we're going to switch over to James in Vancouver. Aloha, James. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Yep, we're still open for business here at Vancouver Airport.
Well,
Okay.
Good for you, I think.
Got everybody coming in, and I understand from a conversation I had yesterday that they're not testing anybody either when they come in.
Maybe not good. Maybe not good.
By the way, it's interesting. One of the directors of my school went to Taiwan for Chinese New Year, and when her and her family left Taiwan, customs people at the airport searched all their luggage, and guess what they were looking for?
I don't know.
Masks. They don't want any masks leaving Taiwan.
That also is happening in France as well, where Macron has literally looted, if you will, the hospitals. And any mask producing company needs to send it immediately to Paris to the designated drop-off place. So, yeah, people are anticipating that this is going to be grim. Very grim. And I hope they're wrong.
We can all go to, yeah?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But
we can all go. Yeah, we can all go to Minnesota and camp outside 3M. How's that?
Sounds good.
Well,
Sounds good. The weather will be
Okay, well, you guys have a good weekend.
You too. Thanks for the call.
All right. Well, the phone lines are empty now, and I guess it's time for Claire to start in on her news. And there's your mouse all ready for you to go there.
Thank you. Thank you. And as some of you will notice, I am not wearing glasses. I had cataract surgery on both eyes, and I'm so happy and blessed to be seeing well enough to drive and well enough to look without needing my glasses. So it's a good thing. This article comes to you from globalresearch.ca, which is a pretty responsible blog to which I link, and Mike will link also frequently. But it's describing the U.S. as despicable, a theater of dystopia, and a nation run by gangsters. And folks, looking at the current situation in this country, I'm kind of inclined to agree. We have become the warmongers of the world. We are causing just incredible amounts of murders, maiming, displacement, and but the crimes are immune from impeachment because they're supported by a completely, overwhelmingly bipartisan support from each party. And the budget, this last budget that got passed, $125 trillion just for the bipartisan military intelligence budget. And it includes 17, count them, 17 separate intelligence agency and preempts development of any serious social and physical infrastructure. And the policy is dangerous, both at home and abroad. I'll get back to this after our break.
We have to take a break for commercials, and we'll be right back.
Don't regret growing old. It's a privilege denied to many. Heart disease is taking our youth from us. Young people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond are dying needlessly. One of the hardest messages I've ever had to deliver is to convince people that something natural like Extendivite should be taken as a preventative measure. I'm sure you heard an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Extendivite is that ounce. Take Extendivite for 1 year and see what your doctor has to say and how much better you feel. Herbs take time to address the problem. It took years of life to have a problem. Give Extendivite 1 year to fix the problem. Don't wait until it's too late. Call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com or visit us on Amazon.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
What this country is coming to, I sure would like to know. If they don't do something by and by, the rich will live and the poor will die. Doggone, I mean the panic is on. Can't get no way, can't draw no pay. Unemployment.
And Aloha America, welcome back to our show here. And lovely Lady Claire, take it off again.
Yeah, this article kind of put together and bundled, if you will, a lot of the current problems with U.S. foreign and domestic policy. And it said very clearly that the U.S. seems to be at war with the entire rest of the world. And I'm not seeing anything coming out of the swamp in D.C. to disabuse me of that notion. Mike, your thoughts?
Me neither. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, we're a warfare welfare state.
Yeah. You know, no 19-year-old kid has lived in this country when we haven't been at war with somebody or several somebodies.
I think in the entire,
Yeah.
history of the United States, it's only been, 5 or 10 years when we weren't at war someplace on this planet.
Yeah. That's unfortunate. I'd like to kind of bop over to an incident in Israel and what is happening there. And it's got to be very, very scary. Apparently, 2 Israeli police shot sponge-tip bullets at 2 Palestinian kids in East Jerusalem. And in one of the incidents, the police officer was caught on tape inserting his weapon between the bars of a school gate and firing some 5 shots at children standing in the schoolyard. what is going on? Two separate incidents. And theoretically, the shootings were allegedly carried out in violation of police regulations that prohibit firing at minors as well as the upper body of individuals.
And these kids in their schoolyard were not doing anything to present a threat.
No, they weren't. And a 16-year-old kid, Mohammed Attia, was shot Monday. His arm got fractured. 10-year-old Fazi Abid was shot Tuesday while standing in the balcony of his home when clashes erupted between youths in the neighborhood and police, and sustained an injury to his hand that required medical attention. I think it's another fracture, folks. The article just didn't say that.
Yeah, don't let the idea that these are sponge-tip bullets fool you. They're still bullets.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the so-called rubber-coated bullets. Underneath the rubber, it's still a live round.
Yeah. And police said in response that youths had been hurling stones at police officers over the past few days, including within the school grounds. Okay, IDF and Israeli police. Collective punishment is a war crime. Collective punishment against innocent children, standard brutal procedures against Palestinian kids, courtesy of the Israeli border police. And you know what really annoys me about this, Mike? I would almost be willing to bet real money, read gold or silver, on this. These officers were not removed pending any kind of disciplinary hearing, but probably congratulated by their COs because of the targets they picked. And those conversations, I'm almost sure, were salted with a lot of frustration that they couldn't assassinate these kids on sight, as well as all the other Palestinian kids attending this school. Michael, this is insane.
It is
This
insane.
is insane behavior on the part of these police.
Now, just put yourself in the position of the Palestinians having to live with this every single day of your
24
life.
hours a
24
day.
hours,
Yeah.
7 days a week.
Their kids are not even safe in a school environment, for heaven's sake. You know, it's insane. Another thing not getting a whole lot of coverage by the corporate press, there is fighting in Rakhine, Chin provinces as states rage against Myanmar limits on the internet. Apparently, there was heavy fighting between Myanmar's military and the Arakan army, which has left several people dead in recent days as the government continues a clampdown. And activists and journalists have decried the internet blackout the government has imposed as part of the clampdown as a violation on human rights. And apparently, thousands have been displaced. Students were badly injured in shelling at school in Myanmar's Rakhine state. The UN has urged to suspend Myanmar return plans for Chin amid unrest, and 11 civilians, including 5 Muslim Rohingyas, have been killed after being caught in hostilities here. It's a western state in Myanmar that's home to more than 3 million people. And Mike, I've got to tell you, I never used to think I would ever have to say, watch out, folks. Here comes a highly nationalistic Buddhist army ready to exterminate the Muslim Rohingya in their country. Well, unfortunately, Myanmar and its military have proven me wrong on this one. That's really ugly. I mean, most of the Buddhists I know are very peaceful people. They wouldn't hurt anyone. That's just
You
not
don't think
part
of
their
Buddhists as
identity.
being out there saying death to the infidels or
No,
anything like
no,
that.
you don't. But whoa, hello. I mean, this whole incident and this whole upset with the Rohingya has really proved me wrong. It's a little depressing.
Buddha.
I love you,
Sorry.
but stop it.
Yes, dear. All right, well, we're coming up here on another commercial break. And when we come on back, continue with her unique point of view on the news. And of course, the phone line 213-933, and we will be right back.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
How healthy are your arteries? Deteriorating circulation has a number of early warning signs. High cholesterol, high blood pressure, fingers and or toes often go cold, arms and or legs often go to sleep, sharp diagonal crease in the earlobe, short walks cause cramping or pains in legs, memory is not as good as it used to be, ankles swell late in the day, chest pain after physical exercise or emotional stress. If you experience even one of these symptoms, your circulatory system is crying out for attention. Extendivite is a natural solution to help improve your overall health. Extendivite is not your average heart tonic. To order, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com or find us on Amazon.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcasts. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
If you got the money, honey, we got the bombs. We'll plant 'em anywhere you like and blow up anyone. Whip this world to a frenzy, killing babies, dads, and moms. If you got the money, honey, we got the bombs. If you got the money, well, we won't say we did. The towers in New York.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. And Lady Claire, just pick it up where you left off.
Okay. This is a top, and this is a very disturbing survey that they took. 44% of our military have reported suicidal thoughts since joining.
That's
now,
almost half.
That's really scary, Mike. And this organization is called the Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America, IAVA. And they released a survey showing that 44% of the respondents said that they have thought about suicide since joining the military, and with only 10% saying they'd thought about it prior to military service. And this apparently is a very well-respected veteran advocacy organization. And it was the 10th annual survey, which was issued over a 3-week period in December and January to all their members. Over 1,700 of them responded. Only 15% of those surveyed said that the U.S. is making progress on combating military and veteran suicide. And 67% of these respondents said they personally know a post-9/11 veteran who has attempted suicide, up from 65% in 2019 and 54% in 2015. And Mike, if accurate, these numbers are dismal. And we need to be assessing our active military personnel and every veteran, screen them for this and treat them for this. But there is another question which has to come up in the mind of all of those who are concerned about the future trajectory of this country and the future trajectory, if you will, of American military. Why the heck are these numbers so high? And why are they so high right now?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the chain of command and the fact that these people are being asked to do things that they are morally uncomfortable with.
Yeah.
And the realization that these wars have nothing to do with defending the United States from any kind of an enemy. Like Major General Smedley Butler, they're realizing this is just a racket, and they're out there cleansing the world and making it safe for American corporate interests. And that's a really poor excuse for killing people.
Very definitely. Very definitely. Another very troubling article, apparently amid the coronavirus outbreak, Trump-centric pressure groups are pushing to stop medicine sales to Iran. Now, we know that Iran has just been dealing with an horrendous health crisis with the coronavirus. And apparently this group is very closely allied with the Trump administration. And they're urging pharmaceutical companies to end their Iran business, focusing on companies with special licenses, most often under a broadly defined humanitarian exemption to conduct trade with Iran. And Iran has gotten hit, 107 deaths and over 3,000 infections recorded so far. And yet, the pressure group United Against Nuclear Iran is carrying on with its campaign targeting medical trade with Iran, despite the Trump administration's special financial channels for humanitarian goods and medicine to reach this beleaguered country. President Trump, a word, please. Iran has been given utterly no reason to trust or believe anything that the U.S. government has said on your watch, starting with the dumping of the P5+1. Now, there were many things, as you and your people know, I criticized President Obama for, but the P5+1 wasn't one of them. And you have a chance to reverse this, maybe start a little bit of trust building. And I would suggest that what we want to do is to give the best science the U.S. has to fight this disease to Iran, and right the heck now. And please, Mr. President, let this government take the high road here. And that would be immediately freeing up what can be sold to help people in Iran recover from this disease, as well as possible until a viable vaccine can be created or tested.
Now, the United States formally offered Iran help to deal with the crisis. Iran refused. But if the United States was serious about helping Iran, they could ease the sanctions to allow Iran to sell more of their oil and other products to other countries in exchange for medical supplies.
Yeah. But I don't see that coming down anytime soon. And part of the problem is that President Trump can only see Iran through the rather jaundiced eye of one of his BFFs in the Middle East, and that would be Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu. And that's really unfortunate. And to everyone who is cursed with having to follow this lawsuit and, this blog in terms of what we're talking about, please, if you can, watch a video called Don't Tell Mother I'm in Iran. It's a Jewish videographer in Iran to find out how the Jewish community is flourishing right now, and they are. So go to a source that's maybe not, how can I say this nicely, invested in demonizing Iran. Might be good for you, might be good for your headspace.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'd like to go over to another story that is very, very disturbing. Lawyers for survivors of 9/11 victims accuse Saudi authorities of targeting witnesses, and their legal team also revealed that the murdered journalist Jamal Khashoggi was a potential witness in their lawsuit. Now, it's a legal team representing, I believe, a class action lawsuit from the families of victims of the 9/11 attacks. And they have accused Saudi authorities of trying to silence several witnesses. Well, I guess assassination is going to silence someone as well as anything else. And it's an almost 2 decades old lawsuit brought to court by thousands of victims and their families who are accusing Saudi officials of having ties to the 9/11 attacks on New York and Washington that killed about 3,000
This is
people.
a propaganda operation to drop the blame for 9/11 on Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. But on Wednesday, lawyers representing the families said that 4 of their witnesses in the case had been threatened or intimidated by alleged Saudi agents. And on those grounds, the plaintiff's legal team requested the identities of the witnesses in the drawn-out legal battle be protected and kept secret. Now, of course, the Saudi government's lawyers have denied all allegations and claims that based on hearsay within hearsay, Mike, holy crud. I mean, I've got to ask, if the connection to the Khashoggi assassination and his info is allowed to be presented and proves credible in a court of law, this could potentially change everything, could it not? I'd like your thoughts.
As the lawyers for Iran are saying, this is all hearsay evidence, which normally in a U.S. court of law would not be allowed.
Yeah.
And, the fact of the matter is that any operative can go up to a witness and say, hi, I'm from Saudi Arabia, you schmuck, you better shut up.
Yeah.
Or bad things will happen to you.
Yeah. And I am still very concerned that one of 2 of President's BFFs, or best friends forever in the Middle East, is the Saudi dictator Prince bin Salman, and at a terrible cost to the Saudi people, and specifically the people in Yemen who are dying every day from airstrikes that are U.S. enabled, hitting infants, children, women, and the medically fragile elderly. The bombing of NGOs like Médecins Sans Frontières have been forced to leave Yemen. The poisoning, possibly with weaponized cholera, of Yemen's water infrastructure, making way for plague of cholera and starvation because aid ships are not allowed to dock at Yemen's primary port. And Mr. President, I have a word, please. I try to be polite, and sometimes I really have to control myself to do it. But do you realize the extent to which you have allowed this man to jeopardize the perception of our country in the Middle East and beyond by slavishly following his dictates in Yemen? And Mr. President, come on, hatred comes from the top down. Now, you self-identify as a Christian. So does Secretary of State Pompeo identify as a Christian. But if you're a Christian or Jew in Saudi Arabia, from the last report commissioned by the former British Foreign Secretary Jeremy Hunt, there existed the following statement made very plain. In Saudi Arabia, the report says school textbooks teach pupils religious hatred and intolerance toward non-Muslims, including Christians and Jews. Mr. President and Mr. Secretary of State, please wake up and smell the rotting stench of religious intolerance here, for heaven's sakes. Come on.
With friends like this, we don't need enemies.
Yeah. Also, speaking of Mike Pompeo, there was an article stating that Mr. Pompeo had made the observation that the U.S. will take all necessary measures to prevent the ICC war crimes probe for Afghanistan. Pompeo says the investigation undermines the Afghan peace deal like we already haven't, Apparently, he responded angrily to the International Criminal Court calling to investigate U.S. war crimes, declaring the group an unaccountable political institution masquerading as a legal body. And
Sounds
said
like
it was
Pompeo's got something to hide.
Oh, I'm going to get to that in just a minute. Pompeo said that it was reckless to even suggest an investigation after the Afghan peace deal, such as it was reached, and vowed that the U.S. would take all necessary measures to shield U.S. personnel from the investigation. Now, this is roughly in line with U.S. policy toward war crimes investigations. And in the past, the U.S. has threatened military action against the Netherlands, the host of the court, to shield American soldiers from charges. Military actions against the Netherlands? Mike, where does this even make sense in terms of U.S. foreign policy?
I don't know.
My
The
gosh.
bombs are falling and there's tulips flying all over the place.
Yeah,
It's just,
yeah.
it's a petal bath.
Yeah, something like that. So if the U.S. is doing absolutely nothing other than straight up above board interrogations, what do their soldiers have to fear? And the short answer, Michael, is absolutely nothing. Now, here is Wikipedia's description of this organization. And there is a map. And the map is very interesting because there are two countries represented in mustard color because they had been signatories to the ICC that subsequently withdrew their signature. Now, the two countries which have done this are, drumroll please, the US and China. We have to ask as responsible and concerned citizens why the darned heck they did this, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The answer has to be that in some way, these countries have legitimately been guilty of the following, because the ICC has jurisdiction to prosecute individuals for international crimes of genocide, crimes against humanity, war crimes, and crimes of aggression.
That last one, I mean, the United States is
hello.
the aggressor here in all of this.
Oh, I mean, upside down and backwards. And if the Secretary of State didn't know what was already happening in Afghanistan, he wouldn't be making these statements or charges. But Mike, unfortunately, this is not the only place where U.S. government mandated or U.S. government enabled war crimes are taking place. Again, I'd like to go back to the U.S. enabling of Saudi war crimes in Yemen. We have got the indiscriminate killing of infants, toddlers, children, women, and the medically fragile elderly. It's all war crimes. The causing of rampant starvation because ships with aid are not allowed to dock at Yemen's primary. Would you say that for me,
Hodeida.
Hodeida? And let's look at the massive waves of cholera here, because all the clean water infrastructure has been destroyed by U.S. Saudi bombings. Aid organizations like Médecins Sans Frontières, which I mentioned earlier, have been bombed into rubble so frequently in Yemen that the risk-benefit ratio was so screwed up, the organization had no choice but to leave Yemen. And so the short answer to, has my government and does my government currently engage in war crimes and crimes against humanity? The short answer is every damn day, hell yes, somewhere. And Mike, check me on this, would you? Unless and until Secretary Pompeo and the president are willing to cure this, it is going to be continuing as a living curse on this country, wreaking retribution where we least expect it. And I do have a name for Secretary Pompeo to have checked by the poor unfortunate or unfortunates being punished by having to read this site on a daily basis. The person's name is Hans Scharf. Who was this guy? Very important. He was a Nazi interrogator who never used violence to get information out of his English and Canadian prisoners during World War II. What he did was give them the impression, by the way he spoke with them, that he already knew what their operations were doing, and in fact would sign prisoners out from prison for artistic or cultural events. He got information from them sideways, which was both brilliant and never had to break anything, not even, a nail trim or break a leg to do it. And at the end of the war, the man was so revered as an interrogator that he was invited by the U.S. military to teach his techniques to the American military.
A lesson they clearly have forgotten.
Oh, man. He ultimately became an American citizen and was primarily known in this country for the beautiful pottery he created. And Mr. Secretary of State, a word and a moment, please. We need more Hans Scharfs as our interrogators, not the second comings of the monsters who have and continue to use torture to exact confessions, which are generally not actionable, but great for conjuring up an American narrative of what the baddies really are and really do. That's all this does. That's all torture does. And, the people who do it know that they can get away almost with literal murder, and they have in a few interrogation cases.
Yes, they have. Abu Ghraib.
Yeah, because they can. Mr. Secretary, this has to stop. If we had Hans Scharfs doing these interrogations, not one person would have been hurt by these monsters who know they can, and they get away with this stuff with absolute impunity. That really bothers me.
Okay, well, we're coming up on our last commercial break of the show today, to be followed by the last segment of our program today.
Yep.
The phone lines are still open, 800-313-9443, if you want to call in and say something to Claire for finally rejoining our show and doing such a marvelous job about it, I might add.
Thank you.
And so we'll be right back.
Homeowners, if your lender has gone out of business or sold your transaction to another lender or servicer, you may be the victim of a wrongful foreclosure, resulting in the loss of your home. If you've already lost your home, are in foreclosure, or even in good standing, you can challenge the mortgage transaction's illegal issue, and your property can be restored to you, and your foreclosure can be stopped or reversed, and the mortgage transaction declared unenforceable. State laws, U.S. title codes, the Uniform Commercial Codes, and U.S. Supreme Court rulings have upheld that defective mortgage documentations can reverse or stop foreclosures and enforce property title claims in favor of the homeowner. We are having successes in stopping the process of foreclosure, the enforcement of the foreclosure judgments, the sale of property, and evictions after the sale. We are not attorneys, and we don't give legal advice. We are a professional team of legal researchers, providing forensic mortgage audits and expert witnesses. We have the knowledge to produce the evidence and enforce laws regarding your legal issues. We've been in business for 12 years without a complaint. Consultations are free, and we provide a free title search to confirm if your mortgage has legal defects. Please call 855-253-3748. 855, keep it today.
Many people write us about their experience with Extendivite. Allow me to read you some from Amazon.com. It really does work like the review says it does. I cannot believe that after the first few days, I didn't feel as sluggish or clogged up. It has had a profound impact on my physical, emotional well-being. I'm skeptical as most people about products and their claims, and I never write reviews, but this is a wonderful product and I recommend it to everyone. Great product. It has brought my blood pressure from the mid-150s over the 80s to the mid-130s over mid-80s, along with diet and exercise in just the past couple of months. Excellent. Thank you, David. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. Call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Here at Republic Broadcasting Network, we have been building our online store. Well, we have been focusing on bringing you the best talk show host in the country. Here at Republic Broadcasting Network, we also want our listeners to have products they can use every day and in times of emergency. We have added new products each week to our store. Your support of this network, plus products at the best prices, is a win-win situation. Check out our new store. Go to our website, republicbroadcasting.org, and click on the online store located at the top of our website. Together, we can continue to grow RBN and help our listeners prepare for the future. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and click on our online store or call us.
800-724-2719, extension 3. 800-724-2719, extension 3.
We will not go down in the night without a fight. You can burn up our mosques and our homes and our schools, but our spirit will never die. We will not go down in Gaza tonight.
And aloha, welcome back to the show here. We got a couple of callers waiting on the line here, and we're going to start with Richard in Alabama. Aloha, Richard. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hi. About wars. People in talk radio find it pretty easy to blame this country for starting all the wars since World War II. But somehow they cannot muster the courage to admit that we had a lot to do with starting World War II. In fact, we had more to do with it than Germany.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, that's part of hidden history, and you've just knocked it on the head. Absolutely. Absolutely. Mike, do you remember that book, Day of Deceit? Stinnett's?
Yes.
Yeah. Could you share with our listeners?
Okay. There's a book called Day of Deceit by Commander Robert B. Stinnett. He's a Navy commander. And what makes the book very valuable is he agreed with Roosevelt's deception at Pearl Harbor that sucked us all into World War II. And so he's not out there with an axe to grind.
Yeah.
But we know that we were tricked into World War II. Roosevelt provoked the Japanese into the attack on Pearl Harbor. We were tricked into World War I. They sent that Lusitania carrying smuggled weapons to Great Britain.
Yeah.
They sent it into an area off the coast of Ireland that was known to be swarming with German U-boats. They sent it without military escorts. And if you look back at history, long before World War II, we were being tricked into wars. The USS Maine in Havana Harbor triggered the Spanish-American War. And we were all told that it was a Spanish torpedo. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm reading some communications from the control room here. But yeah, we were lied about the torpedoes in the Gulf of Tonkin. That's how it goes. I mean, no leader can stand up to their population and say, look, we want to invade this other country. We want to take their oil. We want to take their gold. We want to basically get them to convert their country into a franchisee of an American corporation. The American people would say, no, I'm not going to send my kid out there to get shot at, just to make some American corporation richer.
Yeah.
So our government does lie and trick us into these wars.
And nobody wants to bring up the fact that Poland was governed by military junta and was subsidized for money from America. And that only a week before the Germans invaded, Poland demanded more territory, and the British sent a communique supporting the additional territory demanded by Poland. And the Henry Morgenthal's plan for post-war Germany, including the map of the shrunken Germany, this shrunken Germany with no Prussia, that was given to Hitler. Hitler saw it before September 1st, 1939. He knew what was coming.
There is the music, and unfortunately, we're going to have to let you go, and we're going to have to pass on our last caller today. So have yourself a very good weekend. Stay tuned for the John Stadtmiller Show. I understand he's got a guest host. I don't know who it is. Please spread the word of RBN. Spread the word of whatreallyhappened.com. And PJ Barden is filling in for John tonight. So please donate to RBN. They really need the money to get good working equipment again. We'll be back on Monday. Aloha, America.